Welcome to the 8th episode of the Axis of Combat podcast. It's your boy Ray Boogie Kahuna, my co-host.
Hugo the boss, Hugo got next. You already know, episode 8.
And before we get started, just like to give a little quick drop here. If you guys are following, thank you. If you're not following, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube,
Spotify, Apple, Google,
everything. Please like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Show us support. Let us know we're still, in y'all hopes and dreams and, in your thoughts. It will mean a lot to us. It's all for free. Please.
Can't give it to you guys any better than that. But what I will say is we appreciate some of the reach outs that we got this week, guys, because this is a week in between episode 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Last week we didn't do an episode because UFC was not on and we didn't feel like boxing or any of the lower promotion MMA, MMA promotions essentially below the UFC, like Bellator and PFL, had big enough fights or fights that were even bettable, if we're going to be honest with you. It's kind of low level. Also, some of the lines were so wide that it was very dangerous to make some bets on those fights. So we just want to let you guys know we appreciate it, because a lot of people reached out to us essentially to say, hey, are you guys posting this week? Because nothing went up on Thursday or Friday. We also noticed that the viewership on a lot of our other videos went up as well, which, means you guys were looking and you guys we're anticipating a dropping either Thursday or Friday.
We appreciate that.
We really do.
And we apologize for not dropping anything, but
Yeah, you guys kind of just put more pressure on us to essentially, even when it's like no UFC going on, find you guys money. So Next time we'll definitely keep that in mind. We just didn't. The biggest fight of the weekend was Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua, that fight was low level. Like, there was no belt. Joshua's coming off of 2 losses. To the same guy. He's fighting a guy that he probably should have knocked out, didn't knock him out. Even though me and my brother, we kind of were like leaning towards that, but we're not even going to discuss that because if we're not putting it out there, it don't count. But, go ahead.
I want to argue there. Yeah, because I don't think that was the biggest fight. I think the biggest fight was Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship.
Yeah, guys, big WrestleMania weekend. One of the best WrestleManias I think I've watched. Yes, we are fans. And what I will say is now this completely leads us definitely into our next big topic. Endeavor this weekend. Well, more like Friday. It was a sign and done deal, but it was announced on Monday/Sunday morning. Sunday night, Sunday evening, heading into Monday morning.
Essentially.
After day 2 of WrestleMania, that Endeavor was going to merge and acquire essentially the WWE.
Yes.
Endeavor, the same Endeavor that already has the UFC under its umbrella. So, we've already seen a whole bunch of crossover. Conor McGregor's talking trash to Paul Heyman. You have
Roman Reigns is already set up to fight John Jones.
Yeah.
Some craziness is already going on online. Like
Brock is probably coming back for UFC 300, so.
Ronda Rousey might come back.
Yeah, no. Well, listen, that's a lot of that was capped. The only thing that really happened was Conor and Paul Heyman having the back and forth online. We just seen a Volkanovski and Rob Whittaker promo.
Yeah.
Which is outrageous too, but
Volk dressed up as Stone Cold Steve Austin and
Rob dressed up as Hulk Hogan.
Doing his best Australian brother. Let me tell you something, brother. Hilarious.
But it's huge news for a lot of reasons, guys. And I guess I'll lean it to you to discuss, and I'll come back after.
Yeah, so the TLDR, Endeavor, parent company of the UFC, made a deal. They're buying 51%, the majority stake in WWE, merging both the UFC and the WWE into one company, one new company. And it's pretty big. It's pretty big news. It's big in a way where, it's okay. Listen, it's fun to have this back and forth about all these weird cross promotion stuff, you know, with the wrestlers and the UFC fighters. That stuff is not really going to happen, not in my opinion. What I think is going to happen is the UFC is probably going to take advantage of the WWE's long reach and promotion, like, you know, because they're in a lot of households. They have big international reach. We also learned the UFC tripled in value, because initially when they got bought out by Endeavor, they were estimated around $4 billion. Now they're estimated around $12 billion. With the WWE and UFC now merging into one company, I think there'll be less. It'll be easier to, I guess, cross promote, but not in a way where it's going to involve actual fighters. It's more just about like people that they're just going to be sharing their reach more than anything, I feel like. And the way they have everything structured, Vince McMahon is the chair.
Yeah.
It's Ari Emanuel, head of the table, on some Roman Reigns-ish. Then it's the wise man taking the role of Vince McMahon. He's the chair. They're going to have Nick Khan, president of the WWE, Dana White, under Vince McMahon, still running the UFC. They're still going to be, I think, separate for the most part. They're going to run, you know, their own shows, their own ships. I don't think there's, you know, any kind of like crazy promotion going to happen that way. I think the concern I've seen online for a lot of people is, what does this do to the integrity of the UFC? People are afraid that, you know, it's going to, you know, I guess dilute the product. You know, there are people afraid of mixing fake fighting with real fighting. What is that going to do to the way they look at the ranking system in the UFC? What's that going to do to the way they promote some of these guys, the fighters? It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. I and some of the other concerns that I've seen and read, especially for like WWE fans, they're concerned now that they're officially going to have to start paying for pay-per-views again.
Yes.
And that is huge, because, you know, if you wanted to watch WrestleMania, you just go on the Peacock and you could just stream it. And if you had a Peacock subscription, like mixed with something else, which most people do, you have like a package deal. It's not that bad, especially if you watch one or two pay-per-views, you break even on what you're spending for on Peacock a year. So, you know, the thing is now, I also think there's a strong possibility, especially with the ESPN deal ending for the UFC next year, if I'm correct.
I'm not sure when the UFC deals are going to be ending, but I know the WWE
with Fox
TV deals are going to be ending soon.
They end. I think the UFC deal with ESPN ends next year.
Really?
Don't quote me on that. If it's not next year, it's sometime soon. What I could see is, and I think you agree with this, is that they're going to create their own platform. Like they're going to create their own streaming platform. Yeah. So they're going to create something that's going to be essentially like an ESPN Plus, or they're going to just elevate Fight Pass to a different thing. Yeah. And they're going to turn into something else.
I was just going to say, like, UFC's already kind of got their own thing with UFC Fight Pass, where, you know, they have their whole library there, this and that. And WWE used to have their own thing, you know, the WWE Network, before they were like, you know what, it's probably better if we license this stuff out and make more money that way. That's why they ended up on Peacock and all that other stuff. But I could see them consolidating into one streaming platform. Just like the UFC Fight Pass, they'll probably just change it from UFC Fight Pass to, like, you know, whatever the name of the new company is. It's temporarily called TKO on the stock market, but they don't have an official name for it yet.
Right.
But it could be like whatever Fight Pass, or, you know, some kind of like hybrid thing where they have both libraries combined on one platform. Or I could see them just like maybe just combining both assets, and then maybe, you know, pitching to ESPN like, hey, listen, now we bring this. Right. Or like, you know, Peacock or HBO Max, you know, with Time Warner, whatever, you know, just pitching their whole catalog there. Because now it's not just the UFC. Now it's not just WWE. It's both these companies, and they have very big, long, robust catalogs of like history and fights and matches and stuff like that.
And fans. You know, so like that, I think the crossover with the fans, there's going to be some hardcores now from both sides that are going to be a little more lenient in terms of watching the other product, especially if they do merge into one platform, which is what I think they're trying to do. They're trying to like make UFC into like NFL, you know, like they are. They're really trying to do that, and I think they're going to use WWE's reach while also kind of just building up WWE too. But I don't even know how they're going to do that now because, you know, it's a situation now that Vince is back in power. He's kind of messing with the creative, and if you've seen Raw on Monday, which it wasn't good in my opinion, man. There was a lot of things. A lot of people's debuts apparently got canceled. That's what I was reading, and just everything about it just felt like not good.
Vince, you know, when they asked him, "Hey, you're going to be involved in the creative?" Yes and no. From a higher point, yeah, but I don't like to be
in the weeds.
In the weeds. My man was clearly in the weeds on Monday. On God,
like he's burning down some trees, man.
Bruh.
He was wilding, you know, and there was just a lot of things that looked like things that he would sign off on. And it was kind of proven after the fact, and apparently a lot of the talent backstage didn't like it. But
and like you mentioned before, I think one of the negatives you said is maybe the possibility of them bringing back. It sucks. I think them bringing back the possibility of paying for WWE pay-per-views, like you would think they wouldn't, you know, because they've been doing this for almost like more than 5 years. I think almost 10 years. Don't quote me on that. I think it's about 9 to 10 years. They've been just kind of not giving away the pay-per-views, but them being included on whatever platform they're on. You know, as soon as you just buy the subscription, you get the catalog and the pay-per-views, you know, along with it, with no extra charge.
Right.
But, I mean, you see what Elon is doing with Twitter, and I never thought he would be charging for verification, but, you know, anything's possible. I could see them doing that. Like, and that's unfortunately, Wiley, one of the downsides.
Yeah.
One of the positive sides I could see coming out of this is, because the UFC, I think they have a hard time building stars. And I think the way WWE churns out stars, I could see them pushing some of their fighters that way so they could, you know, work on their promo skills or like just characters. You know, WWE is good at making characters and creating gimmicks. And I think that would probably go a long way for the UFC. The UFC benefits a lot from this. I don't know. I can't see particularly how the WWE is going to benefit from the UFC.
How crazy is that? Yeah. And it's true because Vince has always said that he never wanted to get involved in the fight game because you can't build stars when you can't control narratives.
Yes.
So if you can't control the narrative and you can't do the A, B, C, D, like, then you can't really build a star, especially if that star gets knocked out. And the thing is, I think that Ari kind of sees that it's possible. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I worry about for the integrity of the sport is that, but we're already kind of seeing it, is matchmaking. I feel like there's strategic matchmaking for certain fighters to put them in a position to expound out. Like you have like the Sean O'Malley's of the world. He hasn't fought anyone in the top 5, and though Peter Yan was a tough fight for him, and I thought he lost that fight, I'm gonna be quite frank with you.
Yeah.
But you could make it, it wasn't a complete robbery. You could make an argument for Sean winning that fight. The thing is, stylistically, that was the best fight for him to elevate into the title picture. So I could see that's the only issue I have with it, because I think you should be fighting the best guys in front of you, and even if they're a bad stylistic matchup, you gotta figure it out to get to that next level, and that will prove if you're an elite fighter. You know, now I could see them just skipping guys past certain people and making more highlight fights. But the UFC has been doing it lately.
They kind of already been doing that. I mean, you know, i.e., you know, what's going on with Kobe at the moment.
Oh yeah,
you know,
Kobe getting a title shot. I mean, but the thing is, I see merit in it, but I don't. Yeah. It's wild, right?
Because sure, if you look really hard, you can probably you can see. Oh, maybe it makes sense. But I mean, listen, Bilal Muhammad's getting dogged out because I think he deserves the shot.
He deserves the shot.
You know,
yeah, he deserves the shot. And the other guy that's in the top, even Kamzat. I know people arguing he can't make weight, but let him try. Yeah. The thing is, he's already said he wants to go back down to 70. So it's like, you know, but the thing is, he's in another situation because he's with that Chechnyan dictator, right? Like he's under that person's wing.
That's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother thing. And he may not even be allowed to leave the country right now. So I could see why they gave it to Kobe, but it should be Bilal Muhammad getting the title shot.
Yeah.
But since Bilal is not a seller like Kobe, and the thing is, he's not going to get the shot. But at the same time, too, it's also a situation where how much of what Kobe does translates to ticket sales. Unless he's fighting a big guy like Kamaru or like Masvidal, it's not translating to big ticket sales.
Well,
from what I've read.
You know what it is though? I think the thing with Kobe, and this is why I think they're pushing him, is that he just attracts a certain demographic that, you know, is very into the UFC. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
You know?
Kid gloves on that one, but you're not wrong.
And I think that's why he's getting this kind of push, because people love Kobe. Certain people love Kobe.
Yeah.
And, you know, that fan base is very loud and very vocal, and there's more than you think.
Yeah.
So,
and what I will say too, I think stylistically he matches up very well against Leon.
Yeah.
Like I think this is arguably, it's probably going to be a tougher fight for Leon than the Kamaru fight. And it's for a lot of reasons, but that's for the future matchmaking, and you guys can tune into that podcast and we'll discuss it then. So
exactly.
Yeah, but anyway, what else do we got besides a good, listen guys, WrestleMania was amazing. So if you guys did not watch it, even if you're not wrestling fans, like, it was impressive. It was one of the best WrestleManias I've ever seen.
WrestleMania was sick.
It was good.
It was good this year.
It was the big, I was saying Anthony Joshua was the star of the weekend. No, WrestleMania was the star this weekend. It was fantastic.
Give me all those predetermined matches. I love it. It was great. It was, listen, it was great, man. I'm a wrestling fan, and, you know, watching WWE lately has been, you know, I mean, I feel like the best way to consume the product sometimes is just watch the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Because that's where they kind of try to usually just show out there.
Yes.
You know, and then WrestleMania is their, you know, that's their baby. So, you know, you're going to get the best of the best there. So,
yeah.
WrestleMania was like from top to bottom, night 1, night 2, hitting, smacking.
Yeah. And even though it's not real, you know, like it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. And
listen, man, you guys like movies.
Yeah. It's very true.
Movies are not real. You watch John Wick.
Yeah. Oh. Let's, you know.
Come on.
Yeah, we'll get to that soon. We got a big surprise for you guys on that. So, but now, guys, to get onto these real fights, you know what I'm saying? What you guys tuned in for, and we apologize for stalling it a little bit, but that Endeavor WWE news was something that we cannot avoid talking about. It is huge news for a lot of reasons, more reasons than one. But now, guys, we are moving into
UFC 287. Pereira versus Adesanya 2. Well, 4 times, depending on you know, if you're counting the kickboxing fights. But
great card, guys.
Excellent card.
Great card.
Taking place in Miami-Dade Arena in Miami, Florida. Miami. You know what I'm saying? a little bit of salsa con fuego. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, this is the first time they've been in Miami in a long time. I mean, I'm just happy they're out of the Apex, low key. Just, you know, just going places, you know? I love it.
Yeah, 100%, man.
13 fight card. Actually, pretty solid card.
Very, very good card.
Pretty good card.
Some of these fights, guys, and just as a heads up, like there are a lot of fights. There's some fights here that we're undecided because they are that close. There are also some fights on this card that we're not going to lay bets on because in my opinion, there's no way to really humanly bet them. You know, like whether it's because of the stylistic matchup and how it's extremely hard to tell, or the line is so juiced that it's like. But we have some stuff for you guys. We'll
find some spots here. We don't have too many spots at the moment. You know, we might have 1 or 2 more spots later on during the week before the fights start. But you know, yeah, like my brother said, some of the lines are juiced. Some of these fights might be a little tricky. There's some live dogs here.
Live as hell.
It's a good card, man.
Live as hell on this card, man. What you got for the first fight, man?
Well, the first fight is kicking it off. It is a strawweight fight. It is Sam Page Hughes versus Jaqueline. Jackie? That's a whack nickname. Amorim. Sam Hughes, 7-5. Lost her last fight. 30 years old. Going against Jaqueline. I don't know. I'm tripping on that name. Jaqueline Amorim.
Just call her Jackie. That's what she wants to be called anyway.
Well, yeah, I guess, that's a nickname. Jackie Amorim. 6-0, 6-fight win streak, obviously, because she ain't lose. Brazilian, 27 years old. This fight's pretty. I wouldn't say. Listen, I hate dogging on. I hate dogging on the women's fights. My brother's gonna call it low level. It is low level. I don't like dogging on people like that, but like, this is a low level fight. Amorim, she's wicked. Her jiu-jitsu, sick. Most of her wins are by submission. She's never seen the second round.
Yeah.
And Sam Page.
I mean,
that's a nickname. It's a corny nickname too, but I mean.
WWE propped that up.
Hey, listen, maybe with the WWE, they can help these guys out with some gimmicks and characters and nicknames because they're trash.
Yeah,
some of these are trash.
But go ahead.
Yeah, Sam Page. I mean, listen, the positives about her, she's she's a builder. She gets better as the fight goes on. She's got good cardio. Solid striking. Not really anything mind blowing or whatever, but yeah, this fight kind of stinks. I see Jackie winning by first round sub probably. I don't know if I want to bet it because the line is kind of rough.
Yeah, Jackie's a minus 240.
Ugh. Making her debut, by the way.
And it's a debut fight.
Yeah.
And what we've always tried to tell you guys, when we are looking at fights, we want to make sure that we are putting your investments in qualified places, right? We're making
spoken like a real gentleman there.
It's true. Like, I'm not
build your portfolio.
I'm not gonna lay minus 240 on a girl that's making her debut, who's never been out. What does her gas tank look like after the first round? We don't know. We don't know. And now she's at this level, and she is the lean. I will say she is the lean because Sam Hughes hasn't shown me enough. But listen, in these kind of fights, if you look at the underdogs in women's MMA, for like just go off the sample size of this year. There have been so many upsets, and people have lost their money, on these upsets. And, if you think I'm going to lay any kind of money on a girl who's making her debut,
hit it.
Stupid. I'm not going to let you get the chance.
No, like, and listen, she has heavy hands. She hits extremely hard, and she has a wicked ground game. And by the way, like arm bars, head and arm chokes, knee bars, whatever she can do it. She's a really good fighter.
What's very impressive about her is that, not only does she get sub finishes, but like every one of her sub finishes are different.
Yeah.
They're
nasty.
It's not like she's just getting all rear naked chokes or all arm bars. Like she's got a nice portfolio of subs,
Yeah. She wants to take home your leg one day. She's like Jeepers Creepers. If she likes your leg, she's gonna take your leg. If she if she likes your arm, she's gonna take your arm. You know what I'm saying?
Give me that neck.
Hey.
Give me that leg. Give me that arm. Give me that neck.
But it's just hard to convince me to lay that kind of money on a girl who's making her debut. And that's one thing I've learned. If any better will tell you, like laying it on that much juice on a girl who's making her debut, a lot of things can go wrong. A lot of things can happen.
Yeah.
She is the lean, but I will not be betting this fight.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, just the TLDR. The way I see it playing out, two ways. Sam Page, survives the, I guess, I don't want to say onslaught. Onslaught's the wrong word, because I think if she keeps it standing, she has a chance to win. Because I know Amorim hits hard, but her striking, from the little we've seen, doesn't look that crazy to me.
Right.
So I think her path to victory is to keep it standing. She could probably win by a decision. She doesn't want to engage this girl with grappling whatsoever. Because if it gets to the ground, as decent as Sam Page is getting up, this girl sits heavy. She's heavy on the ground, and she'll wait for you to make a mistake and take whatever you give her. Like, give me that arm, give me that leg, give me that neck.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, everything's tight. When she moves to mount, she moves to her positions to get to some. Everything's tight. She's a good fighter.
She is.
We probably should be telling you guys to bet her, but not at minus 240.
If you're gonna bet her, if you want to better by sub.
Yeah,
but something small.
That's on you guys.
Because that's our lean. That's my lean. That's probably my brother's lean as well.
Yeah, I agree. That's on y'all though. Like I am not gonna advise you to lay money on this fight.
And if you think Sam Page could drag her out, test her cardio, test her striking. And the only way I see Sam winning is by decision. Maybe a late round stoppage, but I don't think so.
No.
She was able to beat up Elise Reed, but Elise Reed's whack. So let's just keep it a buck. But Sam Hughes is not really that, she's not impressive either.
No.
Like she's okay. She's okay.
Yep.
So yeah, that's really all I got for this fight. Yeah, you want to lean either way. Those are the leans. We're leaning Amorim.
Yep.
But we'll move on to the next fight here. Next fight, featherweight fight, and it's going to be a slobber knocker. It is Steve the Mean Machine Garcia versus Shayilan the Wolverine Nuerdanbieke. Steve Garcia, 13-5, won his last fight. From Rio Rancho, New Mexico, 30 years old, going against Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. The Wolverine, 39-10, 3-fight win streak from China, 28 years old. The way I see this fight playing out, I don't know how I'm going to see this fight playing out, because this fight is going to be violent, is going to be wild. I think my lean personally is Shayilan. I think he's the more composed fighter, I guess, because Steve Garcia, he fights like if the gas pedal is stuck. You're driving, you're hitting the gas, and the gas, like, no matter how much you hit that brake, that car is moving, it's going forward. So you better aim for a tree. Don't aim for any kind of pedestrians. There's gonna be wreckage somewhere, because this man is kill or be killed. Shayilan, a little more composed. He's a wrestler who's got decent striking. I could see him. I don't know, man. This fight is nuts.
Yeah, I tell you what. I'm with my brother here. I think the lean is Nuerdanbieke. That's how you pronounce his name, right?
Yep.
But because there's a lot of things. I agree. He's the more composed fighter. He's also a gorilla and can control him with the grappling.
Yes.
He definitely can. But the way Steve Garcia fights, he fights like
all gas, no brakes, man.
He fights like that guy that you see that's extremely drunk at the corner of a bar, and you look at him wrong, and he just runs at you, just trying to throw bombs. Like he fights like he's in a bar. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, he's the guy who's like, "What, you looking at my girl?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Bro, you're sitting next to nobody. What are you saying?" And he just runs at you anyway with a bottle and just bashes you over the face. Yeah. Like he's wild.
Yeah, I'll be real with you. His nickname is the Mean Machine. He lives up to it. Like he is a mean.
He's got that dog.
He's a
in him.
mean dude in the in the octagon, dude. He throws
Violent.
with violent intent. Like he wants to kill you. Even his submission stuff. Like he does stuff that like most, like if you're in a jiu-jitsu gym and it's like, okay, it's a little bit of foul play. He does all that stuff in the octagon. He does not care. But I will tell you, this guy has not been to the third round once. He's only been to the third round once in his third fight.
Really?
And the fight to start third round is minus 115. I tell you what, I'm not going to commit to anything now, guys, because I'm not even sure. I wanted to stay away from this fight, and I think I still might stay away from this fight, but I will say that this is a guy who fights to finish or be finished. It's one of the two, so someone, these two fighting each other, and Nuerdanbieke, he's a little more composed, but I will say, like, he's not afraid to go to war either, but I do trust his skills a little bit more than Steve Garcia's at this point in time.
I also trust his chin a little more than Steve Garcia's.
I agree, because he got put out bad.
Garcia hits the ground at least once a fight.
Yeah, he gets dropped every fight. And the thing is, he doesn't make, this guy, he has way more experience than him. This is Nuerdanbieke's 50th fight.
Wow.
This is 50th fight, so like he just understands where to be and where not to be. He's been in possibly every MMA scenario ever. And this guy is, I think he's a gorilla. He is a gorilla of a man. So I think he can control the fight, which is why I'm a little skeptical about putting money on the under 2.5 to or fights to start third round, because I feel like he can control him. But Steve Garcia does have a tendency to make things real reckless on the floor. Like if you put him down, he'll throw up kicks and like vicious up kicks. He's just not going to stop. You have to, like, he's literally killed to be killed. But you know what I will say, you know.
Also, small tidbit. Shayilan Nuerdanbieke is training with Meerschaert, which is he's the guy that gave Steve Garcia his last loss.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, just a little sprinkle of knowledge there too. You know, I agree with my brother. Shayilan, you know, aggressive grappler. Everything he does is set up around his grappling. I mean, Garcia's got decent takedown defense, but I mean, I can see Shayilan just drowning him in wrestling and ground and pound and extending the fight. Maybe finishing him, maybe not. Who knows? But it's going to be an exciting fight no matter what, I feel like. I think this is a great fight. Nice little popcorn and grab a beer and kick back and just watch. Just a nice back and forth.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a good fight.
This exactly. It may be a fight. I think it's going to be a fight to stay away from, because there's too many variables to determine whether or not it's going to go to decision or not.
I agree.
The lean is definitely Nuerdanbieke.
Yep.
But you know, this fight could be boring towards the end of it, or
people gonna bleed. It's gonna get cut open, and somebody might die.
Straight up, man.
I agree.
I think it has all the capabilities of being that way too. So, but the fact that we can't determine more or less like how this is going to end just based on what we told you, I'm probably going to stay away from this fight. I'm just going to enjoy it and chill. It's a great stylistic matchup, and someone's going to get knocked out in this fight.
They would have been packing them up.
Yep. So yeah, the lean is Shayilan, but we can move on. Next fight. Catchweight fight between two lightweights, two guys who've lost their original opponents as well. We brought this name up numerous times already. Trey Ogden, with the corniest nickname, the Samurai Ghost, going against Ignacio Bahamondes, La Juala, which in Spanish means the cage. So he is Ignacio the Cage Bahamondes. Let's see. Trey Ogden here. 16-5, won his last fight against whatchamacallit his name, whatever. 33 years old, going against Ignacio La Juala Bahamondes. 13-4, 2-fight win streak. This fight, the lean straight off the bat, I think is Bahamondes. I think Bahamondes could get this done. The only thing that worries me, and I think, again, when it comes to Trey Ogden, I've said this before. He's a smart fighter. He fights like a veteran. A lot of his wins are by sub. A lot of Bahamondes' L's are by sub. He kind of struggles against wrestlers a little bit here. This kind of smells like a little bit of a trap fight here. That's why I don't know if I want to bet this fight or not in particular. But the lean is Bahamondes, but for me it's like a little bit of a stay away for the moment, unless if I start digging a little deeper into Bahamondes and his takedown defense and stuff like that. But if this fight stays standing, this is bad news for Trey Ogden, because Bahamondes got hands. This dude is 6'3". Trey Ogden, I don't even know how tall he is. He ain't 6'3" though. And it's going to be the longest 15 minutes of Trey Ogden's life. He tries to stand up with him. This is Trey Ogden's best way to win is to take him down and submit him. So I have two clear paths of victory for both these guys. The line is a little blown on the Bahamondes side, but I don't know. Yeah, this fight's a little weird to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this fight, it's probably going to be a stay away, unfortunately, even though I think Bahamondes is going to win this fight. Trey Ogden definitely has to get this fight to the floor, because this guy got outstruck by Jordan Levitt. And if you're getting outstruck by Jordan Levitt, Bahamondes is going to
They would have been packing them up.
Gonna pack him up bad on the feet. But Trey Ogden does have a path to victory with the submission games. As you know, I'm gonna echo you there. But the thing is, what I will say is, Trey can, Trey can give him some looks, but this guy is big. He's very big for the division.
Yep, 6'3", man. Humongous.
Yeah, at this point in time, guys, I might find some money to bet him to probably stop him because this guy is a pretty 69% of his wins are by submission, by knockout.
Yeah.
8% of them are by submission. So this guy is finishing at a 77% clip. There might be value in picking him to finish him. I'm not sure about it yet because Trey is a veteran. Trey is very difficult to finish. Trey's only been finished 3 times. 3 times out of 21 fights. That's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, Trey's like I said, he fights like a crafty veteran. Like, he's not a dumb fighter.
And by the way, hasn't been finished in the UFC.
Nope.
And he was already preparing for Manuel Torres, who's another big, tall, lanky striker.
Yeah.
That fight got canceled. Now he's fighting Bahamondes.
Bahamondes was also preparing for Nicholas Mota, and Mota ended up pulling out as well.
Yeah.
So the UFC decided to say, you know what? Hey, you're missing a fight. Throw
Yeah.
them together. So they don't have to really cut weight. They made it like a catch weight at like 160.
Which my favorite Bahamondes, to be honest.
True.
This is what I'm saying. Like, Bahamondes is definitely lean. The problem is, too, and this goes back to the matchmaking, Trey Ogden was preparing for someone that was a lot like him. Bahamondes wasn't preparing for someone that was a lot like Trey Ogden.
I agree.
They're two, like, Mota is fights like our boy Steve Garcia in a lot of ways.
All gas, no brakes.
That's what I'm saying. So, this fight is tricky. I might put some money on Bahamondes to finish, which right now, if I'm correct, I'm going to check it for you guys right now. For him to finish, it is sitting at, look at that, even Vegas kind of knows, at plus 120, which means they don't think it's likely.
Interesting.
If it's plus 120, that means they don't think it's likely either. It's a good number to pick them on.
Yeah.
I will say that. But the thing is, you figure it would be minus money if they thought Bahamondes was going to walk through this guy.
I think for me personally, I think if Trey Ogden's number keeps going up, like
he's worth a shot.
I think he's worth a shot.
He's worth a shot.
Like Trey, like he's gonna get pieced up standing, but if he can find a way to bring this to the ground, I think there's more of a viable shot of him winning the fight.
I agree.
But it's just an interesting matchup because I can't see how this plays out.
Yeah.
So for me, it's probably gonna be more of a stay away. My brother likes Bahamondes. I also like Bahamondes.
Yeah, no, I may not put money on this either, but like all I'm saying is if you look at the dimensions of these guys, this guy's got 4 inches of height on him and 3.5 inches of reach.
Yeah, he's a big dude, man.
He's a big boy. So like anyone who's wrestled in like a jiu-jitsu or wrestling gym, they understand how hard it is to take down a guy that's tall. I said the same thing with the Gamrot fight with Jalen Turner, and it's exactly what happened. Gamrot had a lot more trouble getting him to the floor than he thought. A lot more trouble. But it's just hard when you're dealing with these long, lanky guys, It's not apples to apples, oranges to oranges here, but, I think this fight is a stay away as of right now, but don't be surprised if I put a bet on this later. But at the same time, I may just stay away from it because I think Trey is live, especially if Trey's number goes up, like my brother said. I think he's worth a dog shot. He's good. He's really good, actually. So.
Yeah, I agree. We could probably move on to the next fight.
Absolutely.
Next fight here we got is a strawweight fight between Cynthia Calvillo and Lupita Godinez. Cynthia Calvillo, no nickname. 9-5, 9-5-1. 4-fight losing streak. 35 years old. Coming back down to strawweight to fight Lupita Godinez. Lupi, 8-3, lost her last fight, 29 years old. This fight is tricky. I wouldn't say tricky. You want the real? I'm leaning Godin. I'm leaning Lupi. Excuse me.
Lupita.
I'm leaning Lupita. Lupi is my lean. the reason why is because I just got more question marks with Calvillo. You know, she used to be a strawweight. She left the strawweight division to move up because she couldn't make the weight. So she's currently on a 4-fight losing streak. Losing to Caitlin Chukagian and Jessica Andrade, I get it. You know, those are hammers. Well, more Andrade, but you know, but then losing to Andrea Lee and then Nina Nunes in particular.
Yeah, you're not high on Nina Nunes. I don't know why.
I'm not.
I thought in her time, I thought Nina Nunes was a good fight. She was a good fighter. I think she made a lot of good fight decisions, and even Tatiana fight. Tatiana had a hard time wrestling this girl and getting her into bad positions. So I think Nina Nunes is underrated loss for her. I think the KGB loss is like probably a fight she should have won, but.
Yeah, but this is like Nina Nunes coming off of a baby and like.
Oh well, that makes sense.
You know, like.
But even then, I still think she made good fight decisions. But yeah, but I understand what you're saying. We bet that fight. We bet Nina Nunes to win. So
yeah, we did.
We did because it's the same reason. But continue. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's you know. I mean, you're making good points there. I mean, like I said, I don't like her last 2 losses. Again, for me, I feel like she's I don't know if slowing down is the right word. She's 35. She wants to move down in weight again, which doesn't make sense to me because she was struggling to cut weight in the first place, and that's why she moved up. So when I see a fighter cut weight, miss weight, decide to move back up in weight or move back down in weight, like that's red flags to me.
I agree.
And then Lupi, like she hasn't really beat anybody like, you know, mind blowing or impressive either. And you know, I bet her to beat Angela, and she for some reason did not beat Angela because she didn't wrestle Angela. That was the whole reason why I picked Lupi. I don't want to say that loss is inexcusable, but I don't hold it against her as hard as I hold some of Calvillo's losses. I still think Lupi, being the younger fighter, has got more edge in this fight. That's just the way I see it playing out. I don't know. I think Lupi's the side. I think Lupi wins probably by decision. I think Calvillo is washed. Not washed, but she's I think she's just a step behind in my opinion, and you know, again, more question marks than anything for her. But I don't know. Then the line is extremely juiced on this too. So like,
yeah,
maybe just a pass in general, unless I find something in between with rounds or something that's bettable or parlayable.
But yeah, I think this fight probably goes to decision because Cynthia does have a grappling acumen. But the problem is, I feel like it's not even that she feels she's a step behind. I feel like she's struggling to find out what kind of fighter she is. She thinks the last couple of fights, she's been thinking she's a prolific striker. Just go back to what's made you good. You're grappling. You're wrestling. You're grappling. That's what got you accelerated into the positions that you got accelerated into.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's really steered away from that. And I think that's the big part of the problem. Lupita is just full pressure, full wrestling, really good. She is definitely my lean in this fight. But once again, if I at minus 200, I think it's 280.
Something crazy.
That is up insanity, in my opinion. And you know what?
Stupid. I'm not going to let you get the chance.
Not at my money. Not at my money, man. And that's real. Like, I can't sit here and put minus 280 on Lupita Godinez after losing to Angela Hill. And then the excuses come out after the fight. Hey, I was injured heading into that fight and yada, 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 all this,
Yeah.
That's all I heard. And I understand, like, all these fights, everyone goes in hurt. Even when you go to practice sometimes and you go to train, or even for low-level fighters, they're not going into any fight 100% healthy, man. But the fact that you didn't even try to implement your game plan on Angela Hill, it's like, what were you even doing there? You just were her punching bag for 3 rounds.
Yeah, that fight was weird, man. And it low-key pissed me off because I bet her. And,
yeah, I think I took Angela there because, which is crazy. Maybe I can't remember that actually.
I took Lupita. I took Lupita because of the wrestling.
I think I took Angela live. because the line was still close, which is crazy. So I'm like, all right, I'll take it, But my thing is, it's a very hard fight to bet on because they both have questions. But I'm with my brother here. I feel like Cynthia, what he's looking for, she's struggling to find her identity as a fighter.
And that's not good when you're 35 years old and jumping up and down in weight and trying to figure out if you're a striker or a grappler and
then you're trying to figure out if you're a strawweight or a flyweight. And it's like, then you moved up to flyweight in the first place because you had trouble making weight.
Yeah.
So it's like, if there was a bet for Cynthia Calvillo making weight to miss weight, I'd probably take it.
Well, it's probably like, what do you think? Minus 300?
It's juiced.
It's probably juiced.
So it's terrible to talk like that. I don't like talking about people like that, but I feel like you have to be when you're a fighter, you have to take an honest assessment of what you're doing wrong and just work on what your strengths are and then implement that game plan and then shore up the rest of the weak spots as you go and then make those strengths. But I feel like she's just been really struggling to figure out, who she is and what kind of fighter she wants to be. But regardless, listen, I think this fight is a pass. I agree. If there is a bet, it's probably Lupita by decision.
I agree.
I'd say by decision, even though, Cynthia's been stopped, but she's been stopped by killers, if we're being honest. Like girls that can actually strike. Lupita's not a strike. Yeah. And she's not really a finisher. She's not. She's just a pressure fighter, and Calvillo has enough grappling acumen to not get murdered.
I agree.
Or packed up. So, I think this is a pass. Maybe Lupita by decision, but it's probably going to be a stay away from me. But, as the card goes, we'll let you guys know. As the days come closer to the fight card, we'll let you know, So
I agree. Lupi by decision. But besides that, pass.
Yeah, pass.
Next fight. Coming up, another prelim. Ooh, return of heavyweight fights. Big low-level heavyweight fights. Love these. This is Chase the Vanilla Gorilla Sherman, the legendary Sherman, going one-on-one with Karl Williams. Originally, his opponent was supposed to be, what's homeboy's name? Beast Boy.
Barnett.
And I like that fight way more.
For Chase.
He was probably actually favored in that fight. But now, going against Karl Williams, who's 8-1, don't know how long of his fight streak. It says 5 fights. He's probably a little more. 33 years old, 6'3", filling out into heavyweight. Going against Chase Sherman, 6-11. He's lost 4 out of his last 5. 33 years old, 6'4". I think this is going to be a Karl Williams shellacking. Yeah. Karl Williams is going to drag this boy down and just hug him and grind him and be some big old sweaty ground and pound and probably finish him on the ground. Maybe not.
Yeah, and now, and sorry to jump in, but this is why the fight's unbettable, because you don't know how this is going to go. Karl Williams is not exactly a finisher, and Chase Sherman,
horrible fighter.
Terrible, man. And this is the thing, like when there's too many variables, guys, we're not, I can't give you a definitive pick on what's going to happen in this fight. I just know Chase is terrible on the floor, but Karl Williams had a guy that was on the floor too his last fight, and he couldn't pack him up and get him out of there either. So I think this is another fight that's a pass. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah,
and
I think if you wanted to bet it, I think it's I don't blame you if you want to take a shot on Karl Williams by decision.
Yeah, but then that's risky. It's so risky, right?
I wouldn't say it's that risky, but it is. I mean, it is risky, but
it's risky as hell.
It's not. I wouldn't blame you if you took that shot. If you wanted to get real sweaty, take the over 1.5. But besides that, I mean, like I said, Karl Williams is my lean. He's way too juiced. I think he opened up at, what was it?
They said -130. I think he opened up at.
And
I wish we would have 425. I wish we would have caught it at that line, because we would have tweeted out to you guys and been like, "Yo, guys, jump on this." Yeah, like whoever caught him at that line, But this fight is unbettable, And if you think our money's gonna touch any part of this fight,
get the fuck out of here.
Nah, man.
Yeah.
Nah. This fight is very low level heavyweight, and just like very low level MMA in general, we tell you guys, pass.
I agree. Oh, we'll just move on from that big old sloppy heavyweight fight, and we'll move right into a maybe a not so sloppy middleweight fight. Gerald GM3 Meerschaert going against Joseph Joe Body Bags Pyfer.
That's a great nickname.
Body Bags is a sick ass nickname.
Great nickname.
Gerald Meerschaert, 35-15. My man is a long tooth vet. Probably the best journeyman in the UFC. He's won 4 out of his last 5. 35 years old, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, going against Body Bags Joe Pyfer. Pennsylvania boy, 26 years old, 10-2, 3-fight win streak. This fight, I initially, that's cap. Let me stop with the cap real quick. It's gonna be Joe. I think Joe's gonna clean homeboy out.
Poor
GM3. Poor Meerschaert.
I like Meerschaert.
Listen, Meerschaert has a shot here. If Meerschaert could do the whole Meerschaert thing and drag him out for 2 rounds, if this fight gets to the 3rd round, I think it might be Meerschaert all day. Because I don't know what I don't know what Pyfer's gas tank really looks like that deep. Pyfer's got the hands though. Meerschaert is very hittable in my opinion. I think Joe just pieces him up, probably gets him out 1st round, latest 2nd round. If Joe can't get him out, I think he's in trouble. This is a very big step up in competition for Pyfer. This is kind of a step down for Meerschaert, but I think it's a dangerous fight for Meerschaert because of Joe's hands. He's actually got solid striking, very nice striking.
Yeah,
and like I said, Meerschaert's hittable. But yeah, I mean, I think this is Joe. I think it's Joe by KO. That's the way I'm leaning.
Yeah.
Whether 1st or 2nd round, I'm not too sure. And again, if it goes past the 1st and 2nd round, Joe's probably in trouble.
Yeah, I agree. I think Joe is definitely. I already got money on Joe because they have him at minus. I got him at minus 175 on BetMGM.
Solid number.
Yeah, I take that shot on him because I think what's not talked about enough from him is his offensive wrestling. His offensive wrestling is actually pretty good, and he's going to be bigger than Gerald in there.
Yeah.
He's a bigger guy. This guy's power in his hands is real. Both hands he can knock you out with, and he trusts in it, and he's very calculated. Like, he doesn't take, he doesn't force punches. He doesn't force striking. He kind of just lets the fight come as it comes. And
smooth striker.
He's a very smooth striker. So, I like Joe. I'd like Joe. I already put money on him, guys. He's definitely a bet that I will be locking in. And yeah, by knockout is probably the way to go too. But the only bet I have on him right now is straight on the money line because I thought it was a decent money line at minus 175 to take him. I think he gets Gerald out of there if you ask me for my lean on that fight. I might even put money on that as well. But he's good. He's really good. He's one of the better Dana White Contender Series guys that I've seen. And what's interesting about him is how patient he is. He just trusts his power and he just unleashes when he has to unleash.
Yeah.
And like I said, what doesn't get talked about is his wrestling. So I'm going to lean Joe Pyfer here. And I think we can definitely move on from this fight, I think, after that.
Yeah, I agree.
Not much to it. Just that's the meat and potatoes of it, and that's just what it is.
All right. So we got the next fight here. Still in the prelims. Strawweight fight, 115 pounds. We got Michelle Waterson-Gomez, the karate hottie, going against Luana Pinheiro. Michelle, 18-10, 2-fight losing streak, 37 years old, going against the 10-1, no nickname Pinheiro. The Brazilian is 29 years old, 1-inch height advantage, even reach. This fight, this is the fight where I was initially on Pinheiro. But, talking to my brother. Always talking to my brother here. Kind of convinced me that Waterson might be a live dog. Just had to let that fully get in there.
Do all the barking.
Yeah, I mean, Michelle generally struggles against people who are extremely taller than her. I mean, she kind of got pieced up by, what's her last fight name? The girl?
Amanda Lemos.
Amanda Lemos.
But she didn't even get pieced up in that fight.
No, she didn't really get pieced up, but, I mean, she was getting tagged up a little bit. Pinheiro, she's a strong girl. I don't think her striking is okay. She's got a judo background. I think judo for judo, if Michelle wants to tangle up with that, I don't think she's gonna win that battle. I think Michelle's best chance of winning this is just keep it a nice distance striking match, which I think she can. Because I don't know how good Pinheiro is at at cutting off the octagon or anything like that. So it's tough. I think I think Michelle's a live dog here.
Yeah.
I like her.
I if you look at who Michelle Waterson has lost to, she's literally lost the top half of the division. She's literally lost to Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She lost to Carla Esparza, Marina Rodriguez, and Amanda Lemos. The only one to finish her out of those four is Amanda Lemos. And to be honest, if you look at the Lemos fight, and this is why that fight really convinced me about choosing her as a dog, because Lemos and Pinheiro kind of have the same approach to fights. They literally plant their feet and they throw bombs. The difference is that Lemos is much bigger than Waterson. So, and to be honest, I thought Waterson won the first round. I do. I thought she pointed her and then she took her to the floor. And then that wrestling, that takedown alone, and then her controlling her, then Lemos made the right, a good adjustment, and then guillotine, then not the guillotine actually, right? It was a rear naked choke, or was it a guillotine?
I don't recall.
It was a guillotine choke. She caught her coming in, like I thought, and she choked her on the way in because Michelle went to go shoot on her. Now, that fight required Michelle to kind of change her game plan because she's predominantly a striker. I don't think she's going to have to do that in this fight because I think Pinheiro, this is going to be the first time I think in Michelle's life where she's fighting a girl that has her dimensions, her length, and her height.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I feel bad for Michelle because I really believe that if there was an atom weight division, she'd be the champion. That's how good she is, in my opinion. Her striking is clean. The way she gets her front leg up is quick and fast. And she's given a lot of these girls problems in certain rounds when she's been in the octagon with them. And she is extremely tough, extremely durable. Luana, she plants her feet. She has a really good judo background. The way she was tossing around Randa Marcos was insane. You guys should watch that fight for pure judo excellence. But what I will say is she's one-dimensional. She moves forward, she moves back. Michelle will hit you from angles, hit you with an oblique kick, the same way Holly Holm does and John Jones does, considering they're all out of the same gym. And she has enough dexterity with that front leg to give her a lot of troubles and a lot of different looks. Plus, she has extremely good footwork and she has very diverse striking, where Luana is just, more of just her hands and her boxing. She does hit hard, but Michelle's been in there with strong punchers, and she's been able to mitigate a lot of their striking. I'm kind of surprised when I seen the line because Luana's fought nobody and Michelle has fought everybody, I think I'm going to be taking a dog shot on her in this fight. I like her a lot. This is not low-level fighting because you want to say it's low-level fighting, it's on the Luana side. Michelle is not a low-level fighter. She makes very good decisions in there, and I think the only reason she's not an elite-level fighter at the top 5 is because of her size. I think she is undersized for this division, and I think if there was a 105 division, an atomweight division, she'd be a champion. And now you're telling me she's going to fight a girl that's actually her size, maybe a little thicker. I'm going to go with Michelle Waterson here. Even though she's 37 years old, I don't care about that. She still moves good. She takes care of herself. She's extremely dedicated to this sport. And she's a professional, and she's going to show up and fight because she is game as hell. So, and by the way, both these girls smoking hot.
Yes.
Just to throw that out there, you know, so smoking hot, you know, but I will say, like, this is definitely a dog pick that I'm definitely considering and most likely will commit to.
I agree. And now looking back, because I'm looking at Pinheiro's only 2 UFC fights. I mean, I'm not going to, her Contender Series fight, she got that girl out first round. A lot of her fights, first round. But when she fought Randa Marcos, her judo was on full display. She was tossing Randa Marcos, head and arm all over the place, left, right, center. She was getting tossed. If you know me, I love slams.
Yeah.
When I see one person slam another person, especially very violently, ooh,
it's like getting dunked on.
tickles my loins. I love it. And in that fight, she did her best selling job.
Oh, she can act. The WWE Merge is off of her. She's gonna be in the WWE soon.
Because she did take a legit up kick from Marcos, but
she sat back.
She
right?
kind of sat back and then went, ah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, she got the win. And like, I don't blame anybody. If you're gonna illegally up kick me,
I'm selling it.
I'm dead.
I'm getting the DQ win.
I'm gonna act like you threw a grenade in my face, and I'm just gonna hit the ground like, the same way she did. And she ended up getting the win like that. But hilarious. You guys gotta watch it. So she ends up getting the win. Like, I mean, she wasn't losing that fight in my opinion. This was in the first round. She was bodying Marcos. The second fight against Sam Hughes, this is the one where I was a little bit like, wow, okay. And more negative than positive. Positive, she can go 3 rounds. She's got a gas tank. Negatives, against Sam Hughes, she kind of like, I don't want to say inched out a victory there, but like she was low volume against somebody who I think is very hittable. And that's another reason why I'm kind of leaning Michelle here, because Michelle is all volume.
Yes.
She might be the stronger of the two. She might win moments, but I think Michelle can put it together enough, especially since they're similar in height, where I think she is a live dog.
100%.
As long as she doesn't try to engage with her, because I think she is the stronger girl. Pinheiro. Did I say her name right?
Yeah, you got it.
I think she is the stronger girl, and I think her judo for judo, she's gonna out judo Michelle Waterson. But if Michelle, like I said, can keep it standing, do her karate hottie, she does a whole bunch of different kinds of kicks, crazy kicks. Just keep that game plan. I think she can inch out a victory here.
100%.
And I think I could see my lean currently is Michelle Waterson by decision.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that.
So yeah, we can move on from that one. What's the next fight here? Main event on the prelims currently. This one's going to be a banger.
I wouldn't say a banger, but it's going to be a great fight.
I think it's going to be a banger.
It's a great fight.
Excellent fight. To be honest, like I think it's kind of good that it's kind of, I mean, I wish it was on the main card, but I understand why they have it main eventing the prelims here. Kevin Gastelum.
Yeah, Chris Curtis went on a whole rant because Raul Rosas took his spot.
Going against...
He was like, my spot got taken by a child. And listen, I get it because, dude, Chris Curtis, how many fights does he have?
Yeah.
He has like close to 50 fights, right? Or 40 fights or something.
This is going to be his 40th fight, I think.
That is...
He's 30-9.
Sir, yeah, that is crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand his frustration, especially when he's been racking up wins in the UFC. Like, I'm not, but anyway, go ahead.
This might be his toughest opponent. So to properly introduce this, it's Kevin Gastelum versus Chris Curtis. Chris, the Action Man Curtis. Kevin Gastelum, 2-fight losing streak from Yuma, Arizona. Surprised to see he's 31 years old. It feels like I feel like
he's been in the UFC forever, man.
Yeah.
He's fought everybody.
And he's going against 35-year-old Chris Curtis. Won his last fight. Won 4 out of his last 5. This fight, I want to preface this by saying that I want to bet Action Man here.
We love Action Man in this house.
I want to bet Chris Curtis.
We do. I do too.
But the thing that worries me about Chris Curtis is his output.
Yeah.
I know he's got good defensive wrestling, excellent defensive wrestling. So I think he can keep this fight standing for the most part. The problem is he relies very heavily on his counter striking. And I think Kelvin Gastelum might know that going into this fight, because this is a step down for Kelvin Gastelum. This is probably his, I don't want to disrespect Action Man, but this is probably his wackest opponent in a while. Wackest is probably
it's not a good word. It's not a good word. It's not it's his least proven opponent in a while.
Yeah, because
I think Action Man matches up really well with a lot of guys in the top 10. I really do. I just don't think this is the fight for him. I don't, and I feel bad saying I love Action Man.
I mean, I think he can eke this out. I think this it's man, I don't know. I struggle with this match so hard because in one way, if Kelvin Gastelum fights the way Kelvin Gastelum fights, he could squeak out a decision victory here. But at the same time, Chris Curtis is a very good counter striker.
Very good.
He could win moments against Kelvin Gastelum here. And this is a 3-round fight, which is a whole big change of pace for Kelvin Gastelum. For his last 10 fights, he's been fighting 5-round main events, and it's.
If I may
jump in.
He's what I will say is if Kelvin had a glass chin, I'd be on Action Man's side. But Kelvin is extremely durable. So I think even there's going to be shots Chris Curtis catches him with that are not going to really rock him, even though they would hurt most men. Like this dude, Kelvin has a rock chin. I also think he's more diverse. I think this is going to be the best fighter that Chris Curtis has fought that's good with mixing up striking and the takedowns. So even though he may not take him down, he may win minutes against the cage. He may win minutes against him with the volume that he puts out. I got to go with the guy who's going to win more of the minutes in this fight, not the moments. And that's where I kind of lean, especially since he has a rock chin. Dude does not get hurt. Very rarely gets hurt. The only guy that really put him on skates was a Stylebender. And that was in the 4th round after Stylebender pounced on him, hit him with some good technical punches from angles that he didn't see him. So for me, I like the rounds in this fight, by the way, guys. I think this fight is going to decision because both these guys are extremely durable. It's definitely a parlayable piece. I think the over 1.5 and the over 2.5 are extremely parlayable. My lean is Kelvin Gastelum, and I think I will not be betting this fight just because of that. Because of the analysis we gave earlier. I think there are a lot of variables in this fight, even though I think Kelvin is the lean. Thing is, Chris Curtis, if he catches him clean enough, can he stop him? 100%. He's a big boy for the division. He's jacked if you look at the dude, and he's a clean puncher. He catches you when you don't see it. And he made Joaquin Bucky look like a fool his last fight. You know what I'm saying? And and that was after Joaquin won the 1st round.
Yeah, and that's another problem with Chris Curtis. He'll give away rounds because he's so patient and he's so low volume. Yeah, and that's what kind of scares me off of him a little bit. Even though I think he is a very clean, he might be the better striker of the two. The problem is, it's all counter striking.
Right.
He's Action Man. It's not about that action sometimes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
He lets the action come to him and then creates more action. But he's and Kelvin Gastelum is the type of opponent that will bring it to him. But Kelvin Gastelum is a very smart fighter. He's fought the best of the best in this division.
Yeah.
And the only person that to make him look bad, quote unquote bad, is Robert Whittaker, in my opinion.
Rob made him look bad.
And even in that fight, he didn't look like he was in any kind of danger or anything like that. He just kind of Rob was just able to.
He outclassed him.
Yeah.
He outclassed him.
Yeah.
And he outclassed him. And that's the thing too. The way Rob was able to outclass Kelvin in that fight was with good footwork and just timing Kelvin off of his outstep.
Yeah.
So whenever Kelvin was resetting, he kind of got his rhythm down and he was able to throw blows and time his attacks off of Calvin restarting to re-engage him. And if you look at that fight, Calvin keeps entering in the same way. He'll L step out and then enter into the space. L step out and then enter into the space. So that's the thing. Like, but the thing is, Chris Curtis is more of a stationary guy. I'm sure he does have good footwork, but not footwork like Robert Whittaker. And I don't know, he might be able to time Calvin coming in. That's why this fight is very scary to pick a side on. It is. It just is. I think this fight, no matter what, even if Chris Curtis drops him in 2 rounds, I think this fight's going to decision. I don't think Chris stops him. I don't think Calvin stops Chris. I think these guys this is a great fight. Yeah. This is a great fight. Like, stylistically, it's such a good matchup. I think the rounds are the only things I'm willing to touch in this fight. I don't think I'm going to put a bet on it. If that changes, we'll let you guys know. Obviously, follow us on Twitter and social media. We usually post all of our picks there. Because you got to make these determinations later into the week after you see weigh-ins and things of that nature too, and that plays a big part of it too. You know,
I want them, face off and all that stuff. Like, you get to get a good grasp on how they look against each other and
the physicality, everything. That's why sometimes we'll commit. The only bet I've committed to on this podcast, and I think my brother's probably going to mirror me there as well, is the Joe Pyfer one. Yeah. But that's because I know Joe's body bag is a beast. But this fight, this is a great fight. I think the rounds are the only thing that are safe in this fight. I really do. This might be a dog or pass fight. Whoever's the dog, you pick him, because
maybe
it's probably going to go to split decision. It probably can go to split decision, but Calvin could outclass him.
Yeah.
He could outclass him. There's too many variables. When there's too many variables, you stay away from it.
Yeah, and the only reason I'm leaning, seriously, the only reason I'm leaning Kevin Gastelum is because I think he's going to have more of the output at the end of the fight. And, the guy, you have to lean the guy. They're both good strikers. You got to lean the guy who's going to have more output, unfortunately.
Yeah.
If Chris Curtis decides to put his foot on the gas and, become a little more, and I understand why he's not offensive or at least super offensive, is because, he values his takedown defense. And he's afraid, and not that he's afraid, but he doesn't want to overextend himself because he doesn't want to be taken down. So I think that plays a part of why he's very defensive and, counterpunchy. Yeah. Because, Gastelum's probably going to try to shoot on him. And I think Gastelum is probably going to get stuffed for the most part because Chris Curtis has got, he's got very good takedown defense.
Yeah. The thing is, I will say, too, though, I would not completely rule out a Calvin Gastelum. I keep calling him Cal. Is it Calvin or Kevin?
Calvin, right?
It's Calvin. Sorry. Calvin. I thought I was getting his name wrong.
Kelvin, actually.
Yeah, I thought I was getting it. Sorry, Calvin. But the thing is, Calvin is probably the most elite wrestler he's fought too.
That's true.
This is crazy. This is why the fight, there's too much going into, and then there's question marks on Calvin because he's like on a 6-fight skid, so.
But again, that's against,
elite guys. And not saying that Chris Curtis.
Top of the division.
I am very high on Chris Curtis.
Yeah.
I just don't know if this is the proper matchup for him. And the thing is, if it was a 5-round fight, I'd pick Chris Curtis. I would. A 3-round fight, too many variables.
Yeah, Gastelum could get it off, man.
Yeah,
you can get it off. But in a 5-round fight, I don't know.
Even then, I don't know. But I'd feel more comfortable leaning on Chris because Chris downloads his data and then he attacks. He proceeds forward. He's like Peter Yan in a lot of ways. He just doesn't get the same credit as Peter Yan. That's how I think about Chris Curtis, guys. He's a beast. And my brother agrees. I love action, man.
Yeah, he's great.
So
it's just his output. I'm worried about his output. That's all.
All
right, we can go on to the main event now. Well, main card. And the first fight on the main card, this is a bantamweight fight between Raul Rosas Jr., El Niño Problema, versus Christian C-Rod Rodriguez. Rosas, 7-0, 18 years old. 5'9", going against Christian C-Rod. Won 4 out of his last 5. 25 years old. This fight, prospect versus prospect, essentially. It's a good fight. And initially, and probably still, I'm leaning Rosas here. But after watching some C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez kind of won me over a little bit here because he's got some. He could hang in the grappling, and he's got very good striking. If this fight stays striking, he could probably piece up Rosas. But I don't think it's gonna stay. You know, Rosas. I mean, I don't know. He's young. He might do something dumb and try to, like, you know, test his striking out. I don't think this is the guy to test your striking out against. If it stays standing, Rodriguez all day. I don't think it's going to stay standing. I think Rosas is going to take him down, grapple him. I think this is going to look a lot like C-Rod's last fight or the fight before. I'm not sure what his fight, but it was the fight against Jonathan Pierce where there's a lot of back and forth grappling, but Pierce, for the most part, was controlling him. And I could see maybe the over 1.5 probably being the bet here. I think Rosas probably could get him out, but if he does, it's going to be late. I wouldn't rule out Christian Rodriguez jumping guillotine. Not jumping guillotine, but like getting Rosas, you know, catch him slipping with a guillotine. But the lean is Rosas, but I think Christian is probably a dog here, a live dog.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very live. And I think this is probably the one fight me and you disagree on, which is good. I think my lean is probably going to be Christian Rodriguez in this fight. I think at plus 200 odds, I think it's super disrespectful. I do. I think this fight's a lot closer than people want to give it credit for. And, you know, we could look at the dimensions. Like Raul Rosas is very big for the division. He's also 17, 18 years old. But the thing is, Jonathan Pierce is also extremely big for the division too. And Christian took a round off that guy. And to be honest, I thought the fight was a lot close. Every round in that fight was close.
I agree.
Every round. But Jonathan Pierce shouldn't be fighting in this weight class. He should be fighting a weight class up. And he's very good, very highly touted prospect. Christian's, I think, worlds better than Raul on the feet. He's very tight with his boxing, doesn't overextend with his punches, doesn't overextend with his striking. The only thing that does get him in trouble, and I feel like it can get him in trouble in this fight, is that he does like to spin a lot. Spinning back elbows, a lot of things of that nature.
Yeah.
I don't think Raul enters space that well, like Alexa Grasso did on Valentina Shevchenko, where she has good distance management, can enter that, because you need good distance management to understand when to enter when someone's giving you their back like that. It can happen. I'm not going to rule it. I think Christian Rodriguez is a live dog in this fight. He's my lean. No official bet. But what I will say is that Chris does a lot of things good. And he goes to the body really well. His boxing is clean. And the thing is, what I think is the most underrated part of his game is his submission and grappling game. Jonathan Pierce took him down a whole bunch of times. Couldn't really land damage on him. Couldn't really put him in severe trouble. Now, Raul Rosas, he is very good with his submission game. Can he implement it on a guy like C-Rod, where C-Rod was pretty much defending a much bigger man's submission game, who is more of a threat for ground and pound than Raul Rosas. Rosas, I got it right the first time. But what I will say is, don't be surprised come fight time. I put a bet on C-Rod in this fight. I'm surprised that they are feeding these guys to each other when they're trying to build both of them. Now, this is not WWE, how WWE would do it, guys, which is great. You know, that's going to be the theme of this podcast because it's hilarious. But this is the kind of matchmaking we like to see, like the young, hungry lions going after each other just to see who's the young Simba coming up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I love this fight. This fight is fantastic. But plus 200 odds on Christian Rodriguez, disrespectful.
Is it currently plus 200?
Plus 205.
Okay. Because I was telling you, behind the camera,
what you did. Yep.
I said if his odds jumped up to 200 or more, I might be tempted to take a shot, because I think you're right. I think this fight is going to play out a lot closer than people were expecting. And Rosas, I think he can take advantage of those spots where Christian does the spinning stuff. Not because he's got the better entries, or like you were saying with Alexa Grasso.
You have to understand distance to enter when if someone's throwing a spinning back heel kick or a spinning back elbow, you have to understand where to be. You have to be close enough to avoid, but close enough to be able to engage them on their back. Rosas hasn't really shown me that he understands space like that yet.
I think,
could he get there? Sure, but not right now.
I think I don't know if he understands the space. I agree with you there, but I think he's ballsy enough and quick and active enough to, like, if he sees a back, he'll shoot for it.
And who knows too, because this guy, Chris T-Rod is under Duke Rufus. Is it Duke? Yeah, it is Duke Rufus. In Milwaukee, and they usually game plan very well for opponents.
True.
It's a good gym. He may not throw anything spinny on this
Hopefully
guy.
not. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I just keep stay to your boxing, stay to your takedown defense, which he's really good. His takedown defense is really good. And that's the other thing too. Jonathan Pierce, I think, is a better open mat wrestler than Rojas. I really do. Rosas does enter good, but he does his best work against the cage.
Yeah.
He does. Jonathan Pierce got homeboy down by running the pipe on him. I don't know if he's going to, if Rosas has the capability. He probably does because he's young and he's still learning, but the still learning part is what gets me, and the footage tells me otherwise as well. Gutierrez had his number in that Contender Series fight, and if Gutierrez made better decisions, he probably would have won that fight. I could see C-Rod doing the same thing here.
Yeah.
This is a different level than the Contender Series, and it's the same thing as like Veronica Macedo and homegirl Killer B. What's her name? Juliana Miller.
Juliana Miller. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's just when you enter and you're fighting someone that understands space and they are able to have decent takedown defense, they're going to give you a lot of trouble. I see the same thing kind of happening in this fight too. It's going to be a great fight. I might be wrong.
No.
But I think C-Rod is a good live dog.
No, I agree with you. And I think, and like I was saying, like, I think this is the classic dog or pass, because I do think Rosas is going to eke this one out. I don't think this is going to be as easy as his past fights, because Christian Rodriguez is competent on the ground. At least defensively, he's competent. It's going to be very hard to get him out via submission. I mean, Rosas is, I think, my opinion, more aggressive than Jonathan Pierce is when it comes to submissions in general. Mm-hmm. But
that could get him in trouble too, though.
It could also get him in trouble because C-Rod, like you said, Rufus Sport, like those guys do game plan.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I think this is a classic dog or pass. I'm leaning Rosas as the pick, but that plus 200 is probably too hard to pass up. It's worth a dog shot.
You're not throwing money on a minus 245 Rosas.
No.
Hell no. He's not. This ain't like Kamaru Usman or Leon Edwards fighting some guy that's off the streets and they try to build him up. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not there yet. He's only 18 years old.
Yeah, no, this fight is going to be very competitive.
Very good fight.
The lines don't indicate that. That's why, plus 200 on Christian Rodriguez, I think it's pretty good.
It's beautiful.
And, whether he wins or not, I don't know, but I won't be sweating it as much as I would if I took minus 240, 250 on Rosas.
Right.
Because, minus 240, 250 on Rosas, you expect a dominant win.
Yep.
At least a dominant. You don't expect a finish, but a dominant win. I don't think it's going to be a dominant win.
Yeah. And what we will say, guys, what we were talking about, we like the rounds on this fight.
Yes.
I think the over round and a half is a parlayable piece as well. Parlay that with the Kelvin Gastelum over 1.5, over 2.5. You might get some plus money, and then that's from there. Matter of fact, we might do that bet after we get off this podcast, and then we'll let you guys know, et cetera, what it is, So
nice little 2-leg. I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Because I don't see C-Rod getting dog walked. I don't see Rosas getting dog walked. I think Rosas he's a very competent grappler, and he knows how to stay out of trouble and mitigate damage on the floor. He's shown that to me already.
Yeah, and like I said, he might try the striking, but I think he'll learn very quickly.
No.
I can't strike with this guy and go straight to the grappling.
Yeah.
But I think, again, like you said, Rodriguez, more than competent enough on the ground.
Better striker.
Closer fight than people think.
And a good gas tank.
Yeah. So I think for me personally, the lean is Rosas, but the bet might be Christian. The bet might be Christian.
I think the lean for me is Christian, and I think the bet might be coming for me for Christian. So I
plus 200 is I gotta sit on it, but I don't think he's a 200 dog.
Yeah, it's disrespectful.
It's a little,
by the way.
Yeah,
just so you guys know. But anyway, we can move on to the next fight.
Ooh-wee. All right, welterweight 170, Kevin Holland, Santiago Ponzinibbio. Kevin Trailblazer Holland, 2-fight losing streak, 30 years old, going against Santiago Ponzinibbio. The Argentine dagger. Argentine? Not too sure.
It's all good.
Lost 2 out of his last 3. Won his last fight, though. 36 years old. My initial lean, and still my initial lean, I guess it's not initial. My lean is Kevin Holland.
Same.
I'm worried about betting this fight because I don't know what Kombat did to Kevin Holland. It took away that man's confidence in like being able to fight for like the belt. So when he fights Wonder Boy, for instance, I think there was multiple shots. There was multiple paths. I'm saying it wrong. He could have gotten Wonder Boy out of there several times. Chose not to.
Let him up.
Decided to swang and bang with him. You don't want to really be swanging and banging with Wonder Boy.
I made money off that shit.
Ends up losing that fight.
I told you how that fight was going to go.
Kevin Holland, I think he's decided that he wants to be
an action fighter,
an entertainer type fighter, where it's like, you know what, whatever. If I'm not going to have any kind of championship aspirations here, I'm just going to swang and bang and have fun fights. And you know what? That's cool. But for me personally, I don't know if that makes you a viable bet. Because if I can't rely on you to win, to finish, it's hard for me to trust you with my money.
Yeah.
This fight here, I think, is a winnable fight for Kevin Holland. But the way I see it playing out is Kevin Holland probably knocking Santiago down, letting him back up, trading shots. He's having a lot of fun out there. This is the wrong guy to have fun with, I feel like, in my opinion, because Santiago wants to win. Santiago still thinks he's got title. He still has title aspirations. He wants to move up in the ranks and fight for a belt. Kevin Holland is the kind of guy that's going to give him all the opportunities in the world, I feel like, because Kevin Holland just wants to have fun fights. I could see this fight ending 2 ways. He leaves Santiago in long enough where Santiago just finds him, because Santiago, he's a builder. He gets better as the fight goes on. Probably claps him in the 3rd round, or maybe just ekes out like a split decision. Or Kevin Holland, even though he has I think he can finish, he won't finish. Kevin Holland wins by decision. Either way, I think probably the best bet for these fights, over a round and a half. Maybe fight starts round 3. I can see this going deep. These guys hit hard, but Kevin Holland he's hard to get out. Santiago, dog. But it smells of decision and split decision to me. And like I said, I think Kevin Holland can win. He probably will win, but I can't trust him.
I agree 100%. And just to piggyback off everything you said there, I agree. I echo everything you said. Santiago is very dangerous too. Santiago carries his power deep in fights. The last fight he had was against Alex Morono. On short notice, Alex dropped him in the first 2 rounds, and then he murked him in the 3rd round with a right hand. Dude was looking at the Dude was looking at Santiago, not even looking at him. He was looking away from Santiago because he didn't know where he was at. Like he smelled some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like when a cat hisses up and the cat smells shit, and it's just like, what the fuck is this? You know? I don't. Kevin could sub this guy.
He could.
He has every capability of being able to sub this guy.
I just don't trust him.
I don't trust him to do it.
No.
And I'm probably going to be staying away from this fight. The only thing I like with this fight, I agree with you, is the rounds. But even then, I'm not sure because Kevin does have big power and Santiago's getting older. Yeah. So that's my only questions with the fight.
But like I said, I can see Kevin putting his ass on the floor. And then Kevin goes, get up, Santiago. Come on. Let's have a fun fight, brother.
Yeah.
Get up.
And then Kevin as well, too, as you mentioned, too, before the podcast started, he broke his hand like 4 months ago.
Yeah.
So he broke his hand in the Wonder Boy fight, and he took a hellacious beating in that fight. So how is he even going to look? Once again, too many variables in this fight.
I think the over hits.
The over probably hits.
I think this fight makes the 3rd round. Now, does it make it to decision? More than likely, yes. But I think there's a possibility that Santiago, because he wants to win, could finish Kevin Holland. If Kevin Holland is sloppy enough or
or compromised enough from the Wonder Boy fight.
True.
He could still be, but the thing is, I wouldn't bet on that because Kevin has a rock chin.
Yeah, no,
he
he's
does.
solid.
Yeah, I think this fight goes to decision. That's definitely the bet. If I had to bet, and if it's juice, parlay it with something. I think for sure that's the lean for this fight. But I think you hit everything pretty much on the head. I think we can move on from this fight.
Yeah.
Like, it's a fun one. It's a fun fight.
100%. It's going to be a fun fight. But I do think the over hits, in my opinion, and I think start round 3, I think that hits. Anything after that, that's up in the air.
Yeah.
But we could move on to the next fight, which is not the co-main, but it is the featured fight, the featured bout. And it is my boy, Boricua, Rob Font, going against Baby Masvidal, Adrian Yanez. Let's get it right.
Yeah, he was correcting people in the, but it's all good. We have an Enya in our shit too, so
yeah,
I get it.
TMI. But Rob Font, 2-fight losing streak, 35 years old, going against young Masvidal here, 16-3 overall, from Houston, 29 years old. I think this fight's going to be good.
Great fight. This whole card is stacked, man.
When I first seen this fight announced, my initial lean, as soon as I heard the fight, Yanez. You always got to go the young lion versus the old vet. But then diving deeper into it, Rob Font, he's doing the right thing. He took a year off because he took 2 back-to-back beatings. Recently came out and said that he wants to wrestle more, which I think is a very good thing. Rob Font is a live dog.
Yeah.
In my opinion here. Especially if he decides to wrestle or at least mix in the wrestling.
Mix in the wrestling. I agree.
Yanez is good. Yanez is powerful. Yanez is fast. Not as clean as a striker as Rob Font. Definitely the more powerful striker. Rob Font, everything is based off his jab. Everything is set up around his jab. I think he's got the better footwork.
Yeah, you would get.
I always get that.
Footwork.
He's got the better footwork of the two. And Yanez has never really fought anybody. This, like I said, step up. He's never fought anybody of Rob Font's caliber as of yet. So it's a good test for him. Rob Font probably needs this to get back in the saddle. It's not a step down, but compared to the other guys he was fighting, I think it's a winnable fight for him. I think Rob Font, like I said, live dog. Especially if he decides to wrestle. What about you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say Rob has the better footwork. I think Adrian's footwork's really good. I will say that. But I agree with you. I think if Rob decides to use his wrestling in this fight, I think that the dynamic of this fight completely changes. And he's already indicated leading up to this fight that he will be using his wrestling. Now, let's get down to his wrestling. His wrestling it's not elite level, but it is competent. And he did take down the great Jose Aldo. Even though Jose probably wasn't expecting it, I don't care to get there's a lot of guys that Jose wasn't expecting to shoot on him, and they shot on him. Yeah. And he was able to stuff the takedown. I think as well, too, Aldo is also an extremely big featherweight. An extremely big bantamweight because he's cutting down from featherweight. So I think it was a little harder for Font to continue taking him down throughout the rest of the fight. But the fact that he got him down and controlled him against the cage, it was hard for Aldo to hand fight with Aldo because Rob's so lanky that when he connected the hands, he connected them on Aldo's hips. Most of the guys that not even on his hips because it's always on your hips, but he connected it on the side of his hip, right? So what happens is that a lot of the guys that get a hold of Aldo, they have the grip on front of his hips, in the front of his hips. So Aldo's able to stuff his fingers in between and break the grip. He's really good at hand fighting, probably the best hand fighter we've ever seen. We haven't seen enough from Yanez with his wrestling to say that he's on that level, but I highly doubt it. I'm going to go that far. I highly doubt he's on the level of hand fighting that Jose Aldo is on. As well, too, Yanez hasn't fought a guy that understands space as good as Rob Font. Rob Font is a guy that has a really good distance management, but he also has a very good jab, which I think will set up the rest of everything else he's going to do, whether it's his wrestling or the rest of his shots, his left and rights and this and that. Because even the fights that he had against Marlon Vera and Jose Aldo, he was winning those fights until he got caught with a big shot. I think he's a very educated fighter. Him and Calvin Cade are trained together. I think they are extremely good teammates. They also understand where they're weak at and what they have to make adjustments to. Calvin showed it on his comeback fight after a beating. I think Rob Font's probably going to show it on this comeback fight too after a beating. And I do think that Rob presents a lot of problems to Yanez that Yanez has not seen. And once again, I think Yanez is the better moment winner. Rob is the better minute winner. 100%. He wins minutes. And if he doesn't get caught by those big shots by Marlon and Aldo towards the end of those rounds, they're heading into the fifth round. Just take away 2 of those rounds. They're heading into the fifth round 2-2.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The problem with Rob, he doesn't wear damage well. No. He also can't. I don't even think it's his chin because he hasn't been knocked out. He gets dropped and he does enough so the referee doesn't come in and stop the fight.
Yeah. Which
says a lot about his balls, in my opinion, and which is why I have to consider him. And in a 3-round fight where he can throw a lot of volume, he is a bigger volume striker too. He throws way more output than Yanez. This guy is extremely live in this fight, and I really think I might be committing on him at some point too. I'm just gonna let that line spread out a little bit more and do this and that. Not an official bet. Rob Font is definitely the lean in this fight, but I will say that there is high potential for me putting a bet on this fight on Rob Font.
I agree. I think 100% he's the live dog. This is dog. I don't want to say dog or pass because if you took Yanez, I don't blame you for taking Yanez. But at the same time, I think Rob Font is going to be a little more crafty and a little more intelligent in there. And especially if he decides to implement wrestling, I think this is going to be a very interesting fight because Yanez, again, never really fought. He's never really fought any kind of crazy grapplers. So it's hard to say what his, it's going to be pretty interesting to see him. I don't know. Yeah, no, whatever.
No, but what I will say too, just to top it all off, and I definitely understand what you're trying to say. I do think too, and when I was leaning on the point about Aldo and how Aldo breaks hands, Rob Font is so lanky. And his hands, by the way, are humongous for the weight class. That's another thing that no one talks about. To break his grip is going to be very difficult. And he was actually able to control Jose for parts of that fight against the cage. I could see him doing the same thing as Yanez and winning minutes in this fight. Yeah. I really do. If you can do that to Jose Aldo, who's a much bigger guy than Yanez, I think you can do it to Yanez. Yanez is not proven. I'm going to bet. I feel like I'm going to lean the guy who I know what I'm going to get from him. I do. So not a bet, but I think the lean is definitely Font. I think a bet is potentially going to happen.
It could turn into a potential bet, depending 100%. On where that line starts to move. Especially if he gets bigger,
like the 250. Yeah, I'll slam him. Yeah. I'll slam him hard. Hey, yo,
pause,
yo. So, but anyway, moving on.
We could go on to the co-main event here. Co-main event, juicy 170. Gilbert Dorinho Burns. I didn't look up what Dorinho means, but it probably means something cool.
Let me check.
Versus Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Gilbert Burns, 3 out of his last 5. He's got some solid wins. 36 years old, going against Game Bread, 38 years old. This
Dorinho means tough. It sounds better. It sounds better in Portuguese.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, just keep it in Portuguese.
Dorinho.
Me and my brother are probably going to disagree here a little bit. I think Gilbert Burns wins this and probably wins this by decision. And I think he wins it not easily, but it's this is a I think it's a little bit of a tough matchup for Masvidal. Not tough in terms of like he's gonna get like whooped, just tough in terms of like Masvidal is 38,
37,
old. I love Masvidal. I love his fight style. I love his swagger. I love his character. But I just don't know. And I think he could if it was just a strictly just a striking match, I think he outstrikes Gilbert Burns. The problem is that Gilbert Burns, good jiu-jitsu, good MMA grappler. And I think sooner or later he's just gonna grab Masvidal and just ride him out to a decision, if I'm being honest. That's the way I see it playing out.
So you finished?
I'm done. I mean,
okay, I got you right now.
Go ahead.
So I am not against you. The lean is definitely. Let me not say that. The pick is definitely. I'm not even gonna say lean. The pick is definitely Gilbert to win this fight.
Okay.
I think Gilbert's gonna win this fight. I don't see him subbing Masvidal. I also don't see him knocking out Masvidal.
No,
I don't see it.
Actually,
no.
I could see a sneaky sub.
No,
sneaky,
dude. So Masvidal's submission defense is incredible. Masvidal's takedown defense is also really good. And I think people are kind of look at me crazy for that, but look who he lost to his last 3 fights.
No, I agree.
Against guys that are better wrestlers than Gilbert Burns. Now, his little thing I'm looking at.
Talk to me, brother.
Masvidal is a plus 380. Do you think he's a plus 380 on the feet?
On the feet, no.
So what I will say is Gilbert is not a guy that's going to spam you with takedowns. He's never been that fighter.
Okay.
He's never been that fighter. I'm not picking Masvidal to win this fight, but I think there's real value on him at a dog shot, especially if he gets up to plus 400. I think you have to throw money on him.
That's where we'll agree. I think if Masvidal touches the plus 400 range.
Well, we're almost there. He's plus 380.
I don't blame anybody for taking a shot. I don't blame anybody.
Now, here's what I will say. To your point, you said Masvidal's 37 years old.
38.
He's 37. Okay. But like his topology says he's 37. But let's say 38. How old's Gilbert Burns?
I don't know.
36.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I think Masvidal definitely has more wear on the tires than Gilbert.
I mean,
I'll go that far. He has way more. He almost has double the fights.
Masvidal fought on the first Bellator.
That's crazy.
The first ever Bellator.
Dude, he was fighting in Bulldog. He was fighting in Bulldog, and he was fighting in Strikeforce when Strikeforce was still competent.
But you missed the most important one. He was also fighting in these streets. Backyard brawler. Miami-Dade legend. Giving boys and girls, probably not girls. I'm lying about that one. But giving boys hands in backyards since the early 2000s, maybe even earlier than that.
Here's what I will say. I think the line is super disrespectful. I think it is.
I wouldn't say super disrespectful. I understand why the line is
No,
wide.
I don't. It is. It is disrespectful.
Okay.
And I'm going to cut you off there because I feel
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you cut me off? No, go ahead. Cut me off.
I just think if you look at these guys on the feet.
Okay. No. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think, like I said, if this is a pure standing boxing match,
yeah,
I think Masvidal all the way.
And listen, we were like all I'm saying is,
okay.
Do you think Gilbert is as strong as Kamaru?
Strong. Define strong. You mean strong in which way? Punching power?
No. He's definitely a bigger puncher than Kamaru.
Yes.
Do you think he's as strong in terms of lifting someone up and putting them down? And consistently.
Consistently, no, but I think he does have the ability to.
Right.
I think he has the ability to grab somebody and then drag them or toss them or something like that. You know, Gilbert's a strong dude.
He is strong. But here's what I also will say. This is the first time that Masvidal is actually fighting someone his size in this weight class. Kamaru is a big welterweight. Big welterweight. Now, for my second question, on top of the point that he is actually fighting someone his size.
I like these questions.
Right? Colby Covington, do you think Gilbert Burns is the chain wrestler that Colby Covington is?
No.
What I seen though,
Okay.
what I seen was Gilbert gas out against Khamzat Chimaev. And you could say it was gas, you could say it was this and that. But the thing is, he was wrestling into him, and Masvidal does have good takedown defense.
But they were swinging and they were swanging and banging in that fight too.
They were, and this brings up my very last point to this. Am I going to lay minus 475 on a guy who gets dropped on jabs?
I mean, this is Khamzat though.
Kamaru dropped him too.
I mean,
with a jab.
But Kamaru, I think, is underrated strong.
I get that.
And if you had to like rank, I guess punching, like Kamaru's got very, like, if there's one thing that's strong about his striking game is his jabs.
100%.
He's probably got the strongest jab in the game.
Yeah,
but in that division.
But if you're telling me to put money on a guy who gets dropped on jabs, you mean you're telling me the one punch that's closest to your face? So from here,
I hear you.
From point A to point B.
I hear you.
I don't think Masvidal's going to drop him with a jab, but I think Masvidal was the most educated striker, arguably in the top 5 right now, not named probably Jeff Neal or homeboy. What's his name? Even Shafkat has decent fight IQ in terms of his striking and setting traps.
Oh no, he's a good striker.
He sets traps too.
Yeah.
Jeff Neal sets a lot of traps too.
Masvidal also sets traps.
Some of the best boxing and defensive boxing in the UFC, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So you're telling me Masvidal is fighting a guy that is his size, because they're both blown up lightweights, a guy that doesn't have a rock chin, a guy that's not going to spam him with takedowns, and a guy who is not as technical as him on the feet.
I guess my only worry is literally my problem with Masvidal is he's not offensive grappling.
That's fine.
Show me.
That's
where.
fine.
He doesn't do it.
Gilbert, I'm telling you, wrestling into someone, a part of his exhaustion against Khamzat was wrestling into Khamzat and not being able to get the takedown. That was a part of the exhaustion. Because he tried to wrestle into him and it didn't work. And don't get me wrong, do I think Khamzat's harder to take down than Masvidal?
Yes.
Yes. But Masvidal does find, like, he got up against Kamaru multiple times. And yeah, it's because Kamaru doesn't present threats with the submissions, which I think is a big point to why I think if this fight hits the floor, he will control Masvidal. But, and once again, I'm on your side here. I think Gilbert Burns is the lean. Yeah. I think he is the pick. But you're telling me you think he's a minus 475 favorite?
I see what you're saying.
It's just working with the odds.
Yeah, you're playing the lines.
I'm playing the line here.
Yeah, I get it.
I do not think he is a minus 475 dog. I mean, a favorite, and I don't think Masvidal is a plus 380 because on the feet, I think Masvidal's worlds better than him. What is Gilbert on the feet? Maybe a hook and an overhand?
I mean, a lot of overhands.
He can kick too. I'll give him that, but he doesn't really use it, if I'm being quite frank with you. Yeah. Because he didn't use it against Khamzat.
And Masvidal does catch kicks.
He catches kicks really good.
Yeah.
Now, and once again, am I picking him to win this fight? No, but I've been saying for a while, and I told you, out of the top 4, this is the most favorable matchup for him, in my opinion. Him and Leon. And the reason why Leon is a good matchup for Masvidal too is because Leon's not a high output guy.
And he doesn't really have to worry about grappling there either.
Yep. Well, he does. He does because
not on the level of the other everybody else in the top 5.
Nope. And the thing is too, Leon likes to work behind his kicks, and Masvidal is probably one of the best I've ever seen at catching kicks and countering off the kick.
Yeah. Dan, can you imagine a pandemonium if Masvidal wins
in Miami?
In Miami.
Listen, all I'm saying, I think Gilbert is the pick.
I know, I agree with you.
But I think Masvidal, especially if he gets up to plus 400 and he is right there, is it's live. It's live as hell because there are ways for Masvidal to win this fight. But we're acting like Gilbert Burns is some spring chicken.
Yeah, and it's like, okay.
He's the more explosive guy. Gilbert's the more explosive guy.
Yes.
But the thing is, like, in Masvidal's history with strikers, he got knocked out by the least explosive guy ever, Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman's not explosive.
I agree. I mean, but doesn't that work? Doesn't that work against Masvidal? The argument for Masvidal then?
No, it does. But here's the thing: I think Masvidal underestimated Usman. I think he's tasted that dark place. Doesn't want to taste it again. He's come up, and I like how he's talking in these interviews. Besides the retirement word, which is
yikes,
that one scares me.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that scares me. But I do trust him as a fighter to show up and be prepared because this is a high caliber fight for him, and I think he gets up in the morning for it. I also think that he respects Gilbert's power. I do. And I don't think he's disrespecting Gilbert's power. He's going to find ways to mitigate it, use his footwork, which he does have the better footwork, and the counter boxing. And I think if he touches Gilbert the right way, he might put him on his butt a couple of times. And the thing is, since it's a 3-round fight, can I expect Masvidal to be less conservative with his energy? Maybe. Yes, I do. I think he's going to go after it. I think he might put a lot of volume. And listen, Gilbert should win this fight. He should. But at minus 475,
yeah, I understand. I mean, you obviously can't bet him straight.
I don't think he stops him either. I think it does go to decision.
Yeah, I think this is the decision. I think this is a decision.
It's a decision. But Masvidal at plus 400.
Yeah, like I said, and I think that's the tipping point for myself. If I see Masvidal at plus 400, which it probably will get to by fight night,
it's plus 380 right now, guys, and it's Wednesday. Yeah,
I wouldn't blame anybody for taking a little small stab at that plus 400 number. And because plus 400 is
it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful.
Not bad.
It's disrespectful. And the thing is, you're telling me this guy with the judging in Miami, his home turf. I mean, the corrupt judging in the South in general, Florida and Miami. I think they didn't go back to Florida because Florida has had some questionable judging. So you're telling me if this fight's close, they might not give it to the hometown guy?
I mean,
I don't know, man.
You might not be wrong. You might not be wrong there.
I'm sorry for cutting you off too. By the way, I'm just asking questions.
No, not at all.
If Gilbert was minus 200, even minus 300, that's reasonable.
I think that's fair.
That's reasonable. Minus 475, and Masvidal's maybe like a plus 2. That's reasonable.
Well, minus 400 implies that
he's gonna get dog walked.
Gilbert Burns is gonna dog walk him. I don't know if I see necessarily a dog walking. I could see maybe a one-sided fight, but like one-sided feels more like
him controlling
minus 300 to me.
Yeah, him controlling him, like on the floor, making sure he doesn't get up. But dude, Masvidal has popped back up. He popped back up against Kobe on multiple occasions. Kobe does have submission threats, not like Gilbert, obviously.
No, but that's the thing too. You know?
Like Gilbert can get you from different angles and different ways. The thing is, I just don't see Gilbert spamming him the same way those guys did. And I see if he spams him the same way that happened with Kamza, he's going to get sloppy as the fight goes on.
Yeah.
This fight is not this. Like I said, Gilbert should win, but Masvidal at plus 400, nah. Betting him.
Super necessary.
At plus 400.
I can see that.
Super necessary.
We'll go one more time.
Crazy, man.
Super necessary.
Okay. At plus 400?
Yeah. No, I see that.
Disrespectful.
Yeah.
Disrespectful. Like 3-1, 2-1. You got me. I might even throw money on Gilbert to win by decision. I might, but you're telling me at plus 400 odds I get Masvidal in Miami when the judging in the South has been notoriously corrupt? Usually with pressure fighters.
I wouldn't say corrupt, but questionable.
Come on, man. Questionable. Yeah. Questionable. Let's say that. Questionable. Sure. That the judging in Texas.
This is number one bullshit.
Number one.
You're not wrong.
Come on, bro. So the same thing in Florida. I think that's why they've avoided Florida for so long. It's.
But if you did want to bet this fight, I think maybe a good look at this fight in particular.
The rounds. The rounds.
I think the rounds. Because I do think more often than not,
they go to decision.
If I had to cap it, I say 75% of the time this fight is probably going to go to decision.
I agree.
So maybe even 80% of the time this fight probably goes to decision.
Yeah, and if this
70, 75.
Yeah, let me look at the lines for you guys.
So, yeah. I mean, like my brother said, if it gets to plus 400 from Masvidal, I don't blame you. I might even take a little bit of a taste. I might take a taste of that. But I think Gilbert is the side. I think Masvidal at plus 400 is worth a stab. But if you want to bet this fight, I think the most solid option for this fight, because, you know, Gilbert Burns is way, like, minus 400 is crazy. You can't, like, even a parlay that is, like, hard. But the rounds, over 1.5.
It's minus 185, by the way.
That's pretty good.
I might put a straight on that.
What's 2.5?
2.5 is minus. No, it's over 2.5 is plus 110.
That's not bad.
Dude.
So, or if you don't want to go that crazy, fight starts round 3 might be even better.
Yeah, which is
Probably like right in between. Might be like plus 100 or maybe like
minus 120.
minus 120. I think you can bet that straight.
I like those bets because Masvidal, yeah, you could say he got knocked out by Kamaru.
He's hard to finish, man.
He's very hard to finish.
He's hard to finish.
Gilbert is more likely to get finished in this fight than Masvidal, which is crazy. It is crazy.
Maybe.
It is crazy.
I think gun to the head, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But
Masvidal's only been finished twice, 3 times actually. Once by triangle choke, inverted triangle choke, and then twice. He got knocked out in Japan, but that was a BS stoppage. He popped right back up, and then he got stopped by Kamaru. But Kamaru literally had to hit him with the perfect punch. The perfect punch. Right when Masvidal was parrying out to exit, caught him under the punch, under the arm, caught him straight on the chin. Beautiful punch by Kamaru. The only time I'll compliment Kamaru Usman striking. But like I said, I think Kamaru Usman, I think Masvidal disrespected him. He didn't respect his striking. And did you get, when you underestimate any part of a good, and I'm going to say great, I don't ever associate great with Kamaru Usman. A good MMA fighter's game.
Come on, man. Let that boy
Super
live, bro.
necessary.
Super necessary. But like when you disrespect any part of a really good fighter's game, it can come back and bite you in the ass. So, like I said, I think Game Bread, man, at plus 400 is a live pick. I really do. I think it's a disrespectful line. But fight to start round 3 at minus 120, I love that bet.
That's not bad.
I love that bet.
Not bad.
I love it. I love
Something I
everything
definitely
about it.
might consider.
I might parlay to over round and a half because I think this fight definitely goes over round and a half.
And then I'm looking into Gilbert Burns. I mean, he has been finished twice, and they're both by KO. One to Kamaru.
The other one to Dan Hooker. Yeah.
Both first round? No. Okay, no. Kamaru finished him 3rd round. But Hooker was 1st round, but that was when he was fighting at 155, I'm assuming, right?
So he was depleted, right? He was depleting his body. And that's another good point to this, right? He was depleting his body to make 55. But Dan Hooker, as much as he's taken L's, guys, he is a very sophisticated striker. He does make good decisions when he's not luring him, like especially initially in the beginning of the fight, because I think he stopped him in round 1, too. He makes great decisions. He understands distance, and he knows how to land on you without you seeing certain shots. Masvidal can exploit those same holes. It's almost like Rob Whittaker. The only guys he's really lost to are Stylebender and Wonderboy. And you know what those guys have in common? They're lanky strikers that know how to manage distance and place their punches and their kicks. So Masvidal and Dan Hooker, I don't want to give a correlation here, but it's the same idea. Gilbert does not have he's a better striker than Kamaru. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But he even dropped Kamaru in their fight, but with an overhand. He doesn't really lean with hooks. The Kamzat fight was hooks, right hands.
Yeah, and Masvidal's not the type to get hit with an overhand.
No. No, it just doesn't happen. It has to be a straight or something that he doesn't see off of his defense.
Yeah.
So like I said, plus 400, I think it's but the rounds are definitely the bet in this fight and the parlayable piece, in my opinion. So, but I think we've cooked this fight enough. We can
move on to the main event, baby.
Oh, God, this fight is so hard to call, too.
Main event, baby. We're here. We finally here. Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya, part 2 or part 4, whichever way you want to take it. We got Pereira. I don't know what the Portuguese translation to Bondan is, but Alex Bondan Pereira.
I got you right now.
Brazilian, 35 years old, 6'4", mastodon, champion, going against former champion, Israel, the last style bender. Nigerian, fighting his way not out of, but, representing New Zealand. 33. Also 6'4". But I don't know. I feel like Pereira is slightly taller.
Yeah, I don't know. They messed up the metrics there.
Yeah.
They messed it up. He's 6'5".
Trying to reclaim his belt. Trying to get that one dub that's been long eluding him over Pereira. And you want the real? You want the real?
Tell me.
You want the real?
I do.
I think Alex Pereira just got his number, man. It's just one of those.
Yeah.
Israel is the better fighter, I think, in my opinion. Better striker. Probably better grappler. Better MMA fighter in general. Got more tools in his toolbox. The problem is, Pereira's got 2 things. Well, 3 things. Or maybe 4 things. He's a big man. Pause. He's a strong man. Pause. He don't got that many tools, but the tools he got, deadly. And the one thing he got, he's just got that number. In my opinion, I think this is just one of those fights that
history's going to repeat itself.
Yeah, Adesanya, as much as I like him, I just don't. It's just one of those. Like I said, it's just one of those fights where I don't think he can get over this mountain of a man. Pause.
Yeah,
it's just I've been pausing a lot. But Pereira is a big man, strong man. Pause. And
he's a dog, by the way.
Izzy, I don't know what Izzy can do differently. I mean, listen, in the first round of their last fight, if there was like 5 more seconds,
he stops him.
He probably stops him.
But it's the same thing in the kickboxing fight too. The second fight.
Oh, I mean, are we counting the kickboxing? We're counting the kickboxing.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
It's and I think he was winning the majority of the fight, if I'm being honest.
He was up 3 rounds to 1.
Yeah, on Pereira. But Pereira is he's just a strong, big Brazilian man who just like, for some reason, he just lives in Izzy's head. And Izzy would need to get out of his comfort zone, I feel like,
to win this fight.
But then getting out of his comfort zone also puts him in more danger because Izzy's a very careful fighter.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to his stand-up. I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's crazy to say that the guy who you think is the better fighter probably doesn't not stand a chance, but like is probably not going to win this fight. I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's no other way to explain it, I feel like. Well, at least for me. Pereira just got the guy's number, I think. And I think it's going to be and still. I mean, we look at the history of the way when former champions, they lose their belts, the immediate rematch. That record ain't good.
No.
We just seen it recently with Kamaru and Leon.
Yeah, we called that, by the way. Tune in.
Easy.
Tune in. We called that fight to a T. A T. The threat of the head kicks, how Leon went to the body in that fight.
There's this thing that they say that, when you're a champion, for some reason, you just gain 30 experience points automatically. Like you just have it's a confidence booster.
Yeah.
And for the former champion, it's like they have to dig deeper just to match that same energy. I don't know, man. That's all I really got. I'm probably gonna be taking the dog shot on Pereira. It's crazy that the champion is a dog.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, Leon was just. I mean, it's a slightly different circumstance because
there's kickboxing history.
I think I think there was a better chance of Usman beating Leon because Usman was dominating Leon for the most part in that first fight.
On the second fight. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. The second part of the trilogy.
I wouldn't go that far.
Until the headshot, boom. You see what I'm saying? Headshot, dead. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's equally. I think it's equal in terms of like the degree of how much the former champion or the current champion should win. I think like.
But the thing is like, do you think Kamaru? No. Do you think Israel is as not washed, but yeah, washed as Kamaru? I don't think so.
No. I
think Izzy still has legs.
But
Izzy's like, again.
But that's why you had that's what I'm saying. You had mentioned does Kamaru had a better chance of beating Leon? No, I disagree. I think Izzy has a better chance of beating Alex.
Explain.
Okay, so just so we know too, I think I'm leaning Alex in this fight too. I don't know what my bet's gonna be, guys. This is pretty much a pick'em, and rightfully so.
Again, I don't blame you guys if you want to take the shot on Israel. But it's like, man, I don't know. My gut. It's just my gut. Yeah. Sometimes when push comes to shove, you got to go with your gut.
He has to avoid Alex for 25 minutes. I don't know if anyone has the capability of doing it if they're not able to wrestle him.
I don't know if avoid's the right word. I think he has to fight excellent.
He has to. No. He has to avoid his left hand.
Talk to me.
He does.
Educate me, my brother.
The reason I will say I think Alex is my lead in this fight for two reasons.
Okay.
These are the two reasons for why I think Alex is the lead.
Numero uno.
Number one.
Talk to me.
The power and the most underrated part of Alex's game, his IQ.
That's true.
He is a world-class kickboxer. World-class. Like on multiple levels. Middleweight all the way up to heavyweight. And he's won champions on those levels too. And people argue he's the greatest kickboxer of all time.
I mean, he's the only two-time glory champion or whatever. Like
he's
the only two-time something.
And he double champed, right? He double champed. So let's just put that on the table.
Yeah,
right. That's
he's
one.
A beast.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
His ability to address Izzy's leg kicks as well as put leg kicks on Izzy. How is Izzy gonna figure that out? Especially with a guy who has a good fight IQ like him. That's the thing. Alex is not just power. He's brilliance too up here. He knows how to find his shots and set his shots up to get them. That's point number one. Two, the only guys that are really going to give him different looks are guys who wrestle. Izzy is not going to become a wrestler overnight, and he's definitely not going to become a wrestler in less than a year.
I agree.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Those are the reasons why I would give Alex the nod. However, Izzy was up 3-1 the last fight. He was also up 3-1 the second fight too in the kickboxing fight. Till he got caught. Or 3-1. He was winning most of the rounds. It might have been a 3-round fight. I think it was a 5-round fight.
He was up.
He was up.
Yeah.
Till he got caught in the final round and knocked out. Mm-hmm. What you have to bet on, and this is why Alex is my lean, you have to bet on Izzy looking for points where he's willing to stop this fight. He is very capable. Because, by the way, in the second kickboxing fight and this first fight in MMA, he hurts him, and if there's another 5 seconds left in the round, he stops him.
And a good point to that is that it was the first round. So maybe I'm thinking maybe Izzy just comes out and just straight blitzes him. Just blitz him.
That might be the move. And
instead of like, because I think he puts a lot of, and rightfully so, puts a lot of respect on Alex.
He puts too much respect on him, in my opinion.
Maybe he has to get a little disrespectful.
He has to get a little disrespectful.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't know if I'm willing to bet Izzy to put himself in compromising positions to get this fight done. Yeah, because that's what it's gonna take.
Yeah, and he's not the type of fighter to live in dangerous spots.
No, and Alex said it best. Alex said, "You fight not to lose. I fight to win," and it's very true. Izzy will go to a boring decision, and I don't blame him, man. That's if you have a kid and you're educating him on how to fight, you look at Stylebender and you be like, "That's how you fight." You look at Floyd Mayweather, that's how you fight.
Yeah.
The problem is when you have a guy in there that has the same frequency as you in terms of making decisions in short windows, but he hits 20 times harder than you, you might have to switch up the game plan a little bit to, figure this guy out. Can Izzy knock this guy out, especially the way this guy depletes his body? 100% he can. Because he almost knocked him out in the first round of the last 2 fights, kickboxing and MMA. The only issue is there is a difference between distance management in kickboxing and distance management in MMA. And the reason being is because in certain kickboxing bouts, you're not allowed to use elbows and knees. In MMA, you are. As well, too, there's no blocking with the gloves. Now, short gloves, now Izzy has to depend on head movement, which he has very comparable head movement to avoid getting hit by this guy.
Yeah.
People were complaining because he got caught against the cage against this guy the last fight. The problem is that when you get that that nerve in your leg damaged, and I've kicked people before and my leg goes completely shut and you have to poker face it. But the thing is, it's hard for you to move. That's why he got back straight onto the cage and he got caught by the blitz by this guy that ended him. And once Pereira hits you with that left hand, it's good night, Irene. It's good night, Irene, for you, man. His left hand is Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
It's that deadly, man. And it's the rest of his shit too. Like, he has a really good right hand too, but his left hand is like, my goodness,
nuclear.
Like, it's nuclear.
It's a nuclear bomb.
Like, it can, like, if he touched some heavyweights with that left hand and he's at 85er, he knocked them out.
Yeah,
no question. But what I will say is he does have a path to victory in this fight. Can he use grappling, because he is the better wrestler here, to mitigate, and not even a fight, like, he just needs the threat of the wrestling. Use the threat of the wrestling to set up some more of your shots.
I agree with that.
And kind of put it together, plus work the cage, pin him against the cage, especially in the later rounds where Alex kind of gasses, because he does gas. Izzy has a much better gas tank. But Izzy will get tired too working for takedowns, because when you're wrestling into somebody, anyone who's wrestled before or grappled can tell you when you're wrestling into someone that's giving you resistance, it is very difficult to keep that pace. It wears on you. It's the most draining part in MMA, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Can you depend on Izzy to fulfill that? I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. And I agree with you. I think this is a dog or pass fight. And I think I'm going to go with the guy who's not only the dog, but has beaten this guy 3 times. I think he is the bet, if I'm being honest, too. Unless Izzy can do, but can Izzy win this fight? No question. Izzy can definitely use the wrestling, get him against the cage, make it nasty, and then probably go for the finish, because I thought he probably could have stopped in the third round too. He had him a little hurt in the third round as well.
Well,
there's a lot of spaces for Izzy to implement a better game plan to probably knock this guy out and just get him out of there.
Well, I wanted to bring up the third round because I think it was in the third round that Izzy was able to show that he has success wrestling.
Yeah.
The problem now, and I think he kind of admitted it too, when he was able to take him down, he couldn't hold him down.
He's a big guy.
Because he's a big guy.
Yeah.
So Izzy was able to take him down and, get a little bit of, some ground and pound in, but like it wasn't really anything that was hurting.
Yeah.
Alex. And Alex was able to get back up. So maybe if he threatened it more, but this requires Adesanya to come out of his comfort zone.
Right.
And I don't know how far he's willing to go out of his comfort zone, because he really wants this win. But he's not the type to put himself in danger.
Yep.
So I think I agree with you. He needs to threaten takedowns more. The spots he chooses to threaten them is going to be interesting.
That's the crucial part.
That's going to be interesting.
When does he do them? When does he shoot on it? When does he fake?
Yeah.
When does he, but the thing is,
there's going to be points where he needs to commit.
He needs to commit. Because he's not going to bite on the feint.
No.
So he needs to feint the takedown, and he needs to, and the thing is too, what I think Izzy can win and do better with is dealing with Alex's leg attack. I think he will be prepared if Alex starts throwing a lot of volume towards his legs to not only check his kicks, but to return the kicks and make sure he's putting himself in better positions to not get checked, which is what did hit, because when he fell back in the last round, it was off of a check kick.
Yeah.
And Pereira was checking a lot of his kicks during that fight, but if he is able to like get his timing right and make sure he's throwing the kicks at the right time, he can do some real damage to Pereira.
I think the kick checking is going to be a little spicy though for
both of them.
Adesanya, only because the way Alex kicks, there's like no telegraph.
Yeah, it's nasty.
And he's wicked, and he kicks heavy.
Heavy.
You know, he needs to just land a couple.
Yeah.
And you see what it did to Izzy. Izzy even complained after the fight, man, those leg kicks.
Yeah.
You know, that's what really compromised him.
Yeah.
Like, it was able to stop Izzy from being mobile.
To be honest, if he fights the same fight he did last time, and Alex, the thing is, I just worry now because Alex has downloaded data from an MMA fight and MMA distance and MMA distance management.
Yeah. And
so he's going to be better coming into this fight.
But
he's older too, so I don't want to. But
I mean, he's older, but he's also got Glover Teixeira in his corner.
Right.
And I feel like Glover is taking him on like as a personal pupil and project.
Yeah.
To help him. Like, you know, if you're going to be practicing grappling with anybody.
Glover. At that weight class?
Glover.
Yeah.
You know?
Glover's world class.
Izzy's not going to do anything that Glover is not going to show.
No, which is very true.
And Glover, light years ahead in terms of grappling, you know, compared to Izzy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know how much Alex is going to personally be able to download, but I mean, I like that training partner for Alex more than I like whoever
is training with Izzy.
100%. And Izzy needs to offensively grapple.
Yeah.
I think some like if you're able to successfully successfully grapple offensively, then grappling is easy. But if you're able to successfully defensively grapple, I think that puts I don't know. Maybe I'm talking on my ass, but
no, you're not.
I feel like there's a better chance that Pereira is able to more successfully defensively grapple than Izzy is to offensively grapple. Even though he did get him down in the third round, he still wasn't able to do too much because you can even tell Izzy was like,
damn,
like
it's hard to hold this guy down.
There's a lot of man here. Pause.
Yeah.
You know, like.
No, you're not wrong. But like I said, if Izzy can address somehow the leg kicks, which, by the way, good luck to that shit because this guy is going to pressure you for 25 minutes. So you have to keep him off of you. He's going to force reactions out of you because he's pressuring you. Usually when you fight a wrestler, you force reactions on him. He's going to force kicks out of Izzy to see if he can compromise his legs. He will be prepared. He will be checking some of them. If Izzy can mix up the kicks to the legs and essentially give him different looks and use his kicking in different times, where Alex, he can distort Alex and confuse him and kick him and Alex is not going to see it coming, then I could see a lot of things happening. Izzy's the better fighter.
He is.
Which is crazy. Alex doesn't beat anyone in the top 5 of this division, but I think he does have Izzy's number. My lean is definitely going to be Alex. Who knows? I might go crazy and bet Izzy by the end of this week.
Well, I mean, this is the thing.
Lean is Alex. For sure.
It's tough because the way I lined this fight, I think this fight is if I was to line it personally,
this is perfect.
I think it's a pick'em.
It's a pick'em, which it is. It is.
You know? So I think no matter what, I think you have to go wherever the dog is.
The dog.
And currently the dog is the champion.
Which is the guy who knocked him out 3 times.
Yeah.
Knocked him out twice, beat him 3 times.
It's currently the guy who's undefeated against Izzy.
Yeah.
And not only MMA, but in kickboxing.
Yeah.
So
I don't blame you.
I think Izzy's best chance, in my opinion, I mean, because you think logically, you would think, okay, if you get Pereira tired, you could take advantage of him. I think the opposite, because I think if you're going late rounds,
you got to get him early.
With Pereira,
yeah, he's already taken his toll on you.
He's already put whatever work
damage on you.
He's already put the damage on you, and you're already a little compromised.
Yeah,
I think Izzy's best shot, believe it or not, I think is to get him early.
Yeah,
take the risk. Try to take him down early, hit him early, because I think Izzy's the better striker. Izzy landed some good stuff on him.
Dude, he's a cleaner puncher.
It almost knocked him out. Almost like
twice.
Again, 5 more seconds in that first round. Who would have got him out of there? I think that's his best shot. I think his best shot is to get him early, because if he's in there late again with Pereira,
yeah,
I think Izzy's in trouble.
And that's the thing. But the thing is, can you trust him to do it against a guy? Can you trust Izzy to do it based on the sample size of fights that you've seen him do it on?
No.
You can't.
No.
You can't.
Because he's a careful fighter.
He's a careful fighter. The only time I've seen him go after it is the Rob Whittaker fight. But that's because Rob, the first fight, ran after him. Same thing with Kelvin Gastelum, where he engaged, but even Calvin had success against him.
Yeah.
So,
And Pereira's going to march you down.
He's going to march you down, man.
Slowly march you down.
But you see,
and get in you. And he's going to get in you. He's not going to make you feel comfortable.
He understands space better than Rob and Calvin. That's the difference. His frequency is it's a different level.
I agree.
It's a different level. And the thing is, this guy is highly touted as the best kickboxer ever. A lot of people put him in that conversation. So, yeah, I think the lean is definitely Alex.
You have to.
I feel like you have to.
You have to lean him.
I don't know if I'm going to bet what I'm going to do with the bets, but don't be surprised if I pick Izzy. Don't be surprised if I put Alex.
I agree.
But I think Alex is probably going to be my pick for this fight, just because I love Izzy. Izzy is one of my favorite fighters to watch. I just don't know if he can deal with this guy for 25 minutes.
Yeah,
if it was a 3-round fight, I'm picking Izzy all day.
I think we need
How crazy is that?
The thing is, we just need to see Izzy do something he normally wouldn't do.
Right, which
he needs to come out of his own comfort zone.
Can you bet on? That's the thing.
And at the same time, if he comes out of his own comfort zone, it might put him in more danger. So it's risk reward.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but if he wants that win bad enough, I think in my opinion, he's got to blitz him early.
Yeah, he's got to pressure him.
Yeah.
and put volume on him.
Yep, don't let him set up. Don't let him get comfortable.
Yeah,
you put it on him.
Yeah,
put it on
use
him.
your footwork. You have the better footwork.
Yeah,
cut off the cage. Make sure you're landing damage on him. It's crazy, but it's true. But can I bet on Izzy to do that when Izzy historically doesn't do that? And by the way, this fight, guys, another fight, parlayable rounds piece.
I agree.
No question.
Well,
I think so.
Depends on the rounds.
I think so. I think like 2.5. Maybe, let me see. I'm going to check it right now because I'm curious. But
1.5 is probably wild juice.
Oh, it's got to be juiced as hell.
2.5, 3.5? I think this fight probably starts round 4.
2.5 is minus 225.
2.5 is minus 225. 20? That's not bad. That's not a bad parlayable piece.
I think this fight goes deep.
Maybe.
Yeah, because maybe he knocks him out. But the thing is, I don't think Izzy's too affected up here because he went into the second kickboxing fight the same way. I think he's a very mentally strong guy. And in his mind, he was winning that fight.
Yeah.
He was. So I think he's going to go in with that same confidence, just as I got caught with a bad shot, address the leg kicks, and threaten some takedowns. Threaten and commit to some takedowns.
Yeah.
I think this fight goes...
I think 2.5. Or starts round 3.
Fight to start round 3 is minus 280. I think that's a good bet.
Yeah.
It's a parlay.
Yeah, because like I said, for Izzy to win, I think for me personally, I think he's got to blitz him early, and I don't think he does that.
Yeah.
And so I think this fight is going to be another one of those past round 2, past round 3. I think when it gets to round 4, that's when it's going to get sticky.
Yeah.
Even round 3 might be a little sticky, but like I said, Izzy's got to come out of his comfort zone, in my opinion, and I don't know if he's going to do that. So that's why I think the 2.5 maybe starts round 3. It's probably a good bet.
Great bet.
Probably a good bet.
Good parlayable piece.
Now, if you think Izzy is going to do what I think he's going to do, not that what I think he's going to do, what I want him to do, what he should do, it's probably not a good bet.
Yeah.
But then
I don't see it either.
If you're on the Izzy side, you should probably bet him straight anyway, because this is, even though he's minus money,
it's minus 110.
The favorite, he's not that bad. Like, that's the lowest you're ever going to get him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So just bet him straight, and then, and hope. And hope.
Yeah. But, oh man, 2.5 hours in. Well, no, 2 hours, a little over 2 hours in, it looks like.
Amen.
Jesus.
This is a long one. Pause.
Guys, this is our longest podcast for sure. And it was our longest podcast, not only because of the card, but because of the merger and all the other news that we explained to you in the beginning. Guys, we love you. We hope you enjoyed the show. Follow us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, please.
And for all of our audio listeners, Google, Spotify, and Apple. You already know. High quality shit here, guys. You guys should love it.
The illest shit.
We giving you a lot of dogs on this card. A lot of them.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We gave you a couple.
We gave you, I think, a lot of our picks this weekend. We'll see how it goes, man, because this is a shaky card. But
might be a couple more we sprinkle in a little later.
We'll figure it out as we go. But listen, we love you guys. We love the support you've been giving us. We like the viewership on the videos because they have been going up, especially the week that we weren't on.
We see, yeah, we're paying attention.
And a lot of text messages came our way because of the podcast and whether or not it was going to come up last week. And are we going to continue? And of course, we're going to continue, man. But,
of course,
you know, there's a lot of goodness coming our way, and we are more than appreciative of all of it.
Yes.
So God bless you guys. Make sure you follow us and subscribe and comment and like on all the platforms that we listen to you guys. Episode 8 in the books. Holla at your boys. Love you. Take it easy.